Hey, some more packages arrived today, Hugo called out. What's in them? I asked. Oh, just some fishing gear. A colleague at work invited me to go fishing, so I bought some new stuff. Fishing gear? I felt uneasy seeing my husband Hugo's excitement. Didn't you buy fishing gear when we first got married and never used it? I was too busy to go, but that old gear is outdated. If I'm going, I need new stuff. I see. Is there a problem with that? Hugo's tone became defensive. It's not that, but my colleague was kind enough to invite me. I can't just say no. I have work, you know. I can't dwell on sentiment like you do. I understood what Hugo was saying, but it was hard to believe we were a couple sharing the same sorrow when he seemed so happy, like nothing had happened. I'm Cynthia, 33 years old, and we've been married for 6 years. Hugo was making these fishing plans just 2 months after our daughter passed away. I still couldn't get over my grief, but I couldn't understand how Hugo seemed so unaffected. My father-in-law, Wilson, passed away in our 2nd year of marriage. He adored his granddaughter and loved her more than anything. I wonder if they're together in heaven now. That's the only thought that comforts me. Before he died, Wilson told me, don't let Hugo and your mother-in-law Rachel handle the money. I realized after getting married that Hugo and Rachel are big spenders. They spend without thinking if they have money. That's why Wilson always managed the finances. Wilson was a gentle soul, always looking out for me. Having no family of my own, he was like a real father to me, and his death hit me hard. Our daughter, Laura, was born a year after our marriage. She was such a bright and cheerful girl, always bringing light into our lives. Mom, everyone's so jealous of my packed lunch. I bet it's the best in preschool. Then Mom will have to try even harder. Mom, can I ask for a little favor? What is it? Can you make more food for my next packed lunch? I want to eat more. Can you eat that much? I won't leave any, I promise. Okay, I'll do it. The following month, Laura's preschool teacher quietly told me something. There was a child in class who never had a mom and whose dad was too busy with work to make a packed lunch, always bringing just a supermarket sandwich and an apple. Laura had been sharing her packed lunch with this child. Laura's packed lunch is more than I can eat, so please help me eat it, she would say, splitting it in half. Hearing this, I was so proud of Laura. Such a kind and wonderful child. Every expression of Laura's, her angry face, her crying face, and her brightest smiles, were all treasures to me. And then one day, that treasure was suddenly gone. The night before, Laura went to bed as usual, just a bit earlier than normal. I'm sleepy, she said, but I just thought she was tired from preschool. After watching Laura start to breathe softly in her sleep, I left the bed. Usually Laura and I sleep together. After Laura fell asleep, I cleaned up dinner, took a shower after Rachel did, finished cleaning the shower room, and by the time I returned to the bedroom, it was almost midnight. Hugo was away on a business trip that night. Laura was lying quietly in bed. I thought she was sleeping well, but as I was about to get into bed, I noticed something was wrong. I couldn't hear Laura's breathing. What? I reached out to touch Laura's cheek. It was noticeably colder than usual. Laura, what's wrong? Laura was completely unresponsive. I couldn't understand what was happening, but I knew I had to call an ambulance. I jumped in with Laura, clutching her cold hand. As soon as the paramedics saw her, I noticed a grim expression on their faces. One of them began as they rushed her to the hospital. Laura, you'll be okay, right? You'll get better once we're at the hospital, right? I repeated these words to myself, desperately hoping they were true. But when we arrived, the first thing the doctor said was, I'm terribly sorry, but she's already gone. I became frantic, begging the doctor to examine Laura over and over. It couldn't be true. She was fine before bed. The cause was unknown. These sudden events can happen even with small children, the doctor said. I had heard such things before, but never imagined it could happen to my own child. Laura and I had only lived together for 4 short years. I thought we had decades ahead of us. I couldn't believe she was suddenly gone. Overwhelmed, I panicked and passed out. When I woke up, Hugo and Rachel were there, having been notified of what happened. I realized I had forgotten to call Rachel when I left the house. Where's Laura? I hoped it was all a bad dream, but Hugo gestured that she was gone. How can this be? Neither Hugo nor Rachel said anything, but their eyes seemed to confirm my worst fears. For a while, I was almost catatonic. I cried looking at Laura's things, cried watching her favorite cartoons, and cried remembering her in everything I did. At first, Hugo didn't say anything, but gradually he began to sigh audibly and mutter, "She's so morbid." Rachel too started to nag me. "Hey, how long are you going to be in a daze? Housework is Cynthia's job, isn't it? Could you please get it together?" "I'm sorry," I said, knowing I shouldn't be like this. But my heart was heavy and I just couldn't function as efficiently as before. Yet, as they say, time heals. About 6 months later, I started to manage the daily routines normally again. Hugo did cry a bit at the funeral, but he was never what you would call a doting father. He preferred playing games over spending time with Laura, which is why she wasn't very attached to him. Maybe Hugo wasn't as heartbroken because he didn't feel much of a connection as a parent. But who else will mourn for Laura, our daughter who only lived for 4 years, if not her parents? About a month after Laura's death, Hugo returned to his usual spendthrift self, enjoying shopping and browsing the web. When Laura died, both Hugo and Rachel looked at me as if it was my fault, like they were silently blaming me. But they didn't say anything, probably because they weren't as heartbroken about her absence as I was. I didn't expect them to grieve the same way, but I wish Hugo, as a parent who lost a child, would have been more supportive. Rachel, on the other hand, went back to her routine within a week. She resumed shopping, going out with friends, and laughing as if Laura had never existed. When Laura was born, Rachel frowned upon seeing her face. "She looks more like Cynthia than Hugo. We can't expect much from her future," she would say. She often ignored Laura and seemed reluctant to interact with her, probably not feeling any special affection. She didn't shed a tear at the funeral. Their attitudes have always been a point of contention for me. Almost a year passed since Laura's death, and seeing Hugo and Rachel happily shopping, I felt an indescribable frustration. They never talked to Laura's picture. How could they act so normally? It seemed like we couldn't understand each other at all. Then one day, Hugo and Rachel suggested we go out together. "Where are we going?" I asked. "How about somewhere with fresh air to change our mood?" Hugo suggested. "Cynthia, you've been just going between home and the supermarket since Laura passed. That's why you're so down." "I've been worried about you too, Cynthia," Rachel added. "You've been so down." "Worried, you, Rachel?" "Of course. Cynthia is the wife of our dear son. I've been trying hard for your sake." I couldn't fully believe that, but a part of me felt a little happy to hear it. "How about hiking for a change?" Hugo continued. "Going somewhere with fresh air might lift your spirits. I want you to feel a bit better." "You really thought that?" "Of course, I'm your husband. It's natural to worry about my wife." "But you didn't seem that down." "I was holding it together. If I got down too, the house would become too gloomy. So let's go hiking." I wondered if they really cared, but it was hard to believe. "Laura would want you to be happy, Cynthia. Think of this as a tribute to her," Hugo said. That moved me. I knew Laura wouldn't want me to cry forever. That's something I've always known in my head. "But I've never hiked before," I said. "Don't worry, even I can climb it. It's more like a light hike," Hugo reassured me. "Well, if Hugo and Rachel insist." "Great, I'm looking forward to it." So I agreed to go hiking with Hugo and Rachel. We drove to the foot of the mountain and started our ascent. It was a sunny day and many people were around, which felt reassuring. But as we reached the midway point, the crowd thinned, despite being told it was a beginner's course. I was surprised by the roughness of the terrain, yet Hugo and Rachel walked with ease, familiar with the area. "Hey, let's take this path," Hugo suggested. "Ha! Yeah, it looks less crowded. Let's go that way," Rachel agreed. "But shouldn't we follow the path everyone else is taking?" I asked, feeling uneasy. "It's fine. I've been here before and know the way. This path is straightforward, and you can't get lost," Hugo reassured me. "If Hugo says it's okay, then it must be," Rachel added. "Trust me, there's a really scenic spot just ahead, Cynthia. You'll be amazed." Before finishing his sentence, Hugo started walking down the path, followed by Rachel. Reluctantly, I followed them. But the further we went, the more rugged the path became, almost like a trail for animals rather than a proper path. "Wait, are you sure we're on the right path? Can we really get through here?" I asked, my concern growing. "Don't worry, we'll reach a wider path soon. Just keep up," Hugo said confidently. Hugo and Rachel continued, seemingly sure of themselves. Rachel, now 60, was surprisingly nimble, walking more effortlessly than I was. Soon they were far ahead, their figures intermittently visible through the dense foliage. "Wait, don't leave me behind here," I called out. Hurry up. We'll run out of daylight. Hugo's voice echoed from the distance. I hurried, but couldn't catch up. Their heads, once visible, were now out of sight. Hugo, Rachel, I called out in fear, but no reply came. As I moved forward, I lost sight of them completely. I didn't know which way to go. What should I do? I was lost, the words stranded, echoing in my mind. This can't be happening. Maybe I should have stayed put, thinking Hugo would come back for me. But as time passed, neither Hugo nor Rachel appeared. There was no sign of anyone approaching. Knowing I couldn't just stand there, I started walking again, filled with fear. My anxiety grew as I realized I couldn't tell which way was which. I decided to retrace my steps, but even finding my own tracks on this unmarked path was a challenge. I felt like I was getting deeper into the wilderness. Panicking, I stumbled several times, each fall draining more energy. Soon, the surroundings began to darken, and my anxiety intensified. If night fell, I wouldn't be able to descend. The temperature dropped as evening approached. It was late March, but the nights were still cold, especially in the mountains. What would happen if I had to spend the night here? Exhausted, I collapsed against a large tree. I can't go on, I voiced my despair. Thoughts of this being the end of my life crept in, my consciousness fading. In my dimming awareness, I heard a voice I had longed to hear. Mom, Mom. Shocked, I opened my eyes. There was my dear Laura. Laura, is that you? Laura smiled at me. Ah, I must be in heaven, I thought hazily. I reached out to hug Laura, but she seemed to slip through my arms, flying away. Laura, Mom is over here. Laura turned and started running. Wait, I reflexively stood up to follow Laura, feeling strangely energized despite my earlier exhaustion. This couldn't be the real world, but if it meant holding Laura again, I didn't care if it was a dream. When I thought of that, I naturally felt motivated. I felt invigorated and chased after Laura. Laura, wait, I called. Laura turned back, smiling. It felt like playing tag with Laura, a joyful feeling. Before I knew it, I had reached the foot of the mountain, and Laura was gone. Laura, where are you? Laura was nowhere to be seen. Had I just seen an illusion? Then someone shone a flashlight on me. Are you okay? I got lost on the trail. Are you hurt? Thank you, I'm fine. My family must be waiting for me. I headed down to the parking lot at the foot of the mountain, but our car wasn't there. Had Hugo and Rachel left without me? No way. As I stood there dumbfounded, I saw a faint image of Laura where her car should have been. Laura. I ran towards her, but my body passed right through. I couldn't embrace her. Laura looked sad, as if she wanted to tell me something. I felt she had a message for me. Then I realized something was very wrong. If we had been separated, they would have reported me missing. The area should have been in an uproar, but no one seemed to be looking for me. The parking lot was silent and deserted. Did Hugo and Rachel not even try to find me? What does this mean? Laura must have appeared to show me this. I went to the station and took a train home. I noticed people staring at me curiously, but I was too preoccupied to care. I quietly opened the door and peeked inside. I could hear Hugo and Rachel's voices, unnaturally cheerful. I sneaked into the next room and observed them through a gap in the sliding door. They were drinking and laughing, unconcerned that I hadn't returned. We did it. No more of her depressing face, Hugo said. Wonder how she's doing now, shivering in the mountains. Just thinking about it makes me laugh. Cynthia is so slow, she'll never make it back, Rachel added. It's going to be extra cold tonight. Imagine her alone and cold out there. We'll tell people she ran off with another man, then file a missing person report. When will we get the insurance money? Hugo asked. It'll take a few years before she's declared legally missing. If only her body was found, we'd get it faster. Let's say she called from the mountain. Then they'll find her sooner. My son is so clever, Rachel praised. Hearing this, I trembled with anger. I couldn't believe they had planned this. I listened to their conversation, unnoticed. I was a fool to ever think of them as family. Make sure to cry at the funeral, Hugo said. You didn't shed a tear for Laura. Well, I wasn't sad. Laura wasn't cute. She looked just like Cynthia. Rachel replied, I never wanted kids. They're just annoying. Hearing this, I burst open the sliding door. Hugo and Rachel looked at me in surprise, their expressions frozen in shock. Hugo backed up against the wall while Rachel covered her head with a throw. I realized I must have looked like a ghost covered in mud, with torn clothes and scratches. I decided to play along. I'll haunt you. I declared, my voice echoing through the room. They shivered in fear. It wasn't me. Blame Hugo, Rachel yelled. What? You agreed. Mom was the one laughing about how cold it must be. Hugo protested. It's not my fault. Haunt her. Hugo pleaded. Hugo, selling out your own mother. What if I get haunted? Rachel said, terrified. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please go to heaven. They begged, beyond reason. They must have really thought they had sent me to the afterlife. I'm still very much alive, I said, lifting my foot to show them. They looked utterly bewildered. What was your plan, leaving me in the middle of the mountains? I just wanted to fulfill your wish, Hugo stammered. You wanted to see Laura, right? I thought I'd send you to her. It was out of kindness. I was speechless. Did they really think that excuse would hold up? I heard your entire conversation, I informed them. Their faces turned even paler. Of course, I'll be divorcing Hugo. I can't stay here, not with my life on the line. Too bad you won't get the insurance money. I recorded your conversation. I'm taking it to the police. What? I'll consult a lawyer, and you'll face the consequences. Cynthia's fine, right? We didn't commit any crime. I won't let this go unpunished. Perhaps it was seeing Laura that gave me strength or knowing their evil intentions, but I felt a newfound power within me. I wasn't going to lose. Rachel, still unable to believe I was alive, peeked out from under her throw at Hugo, and me, still trembling. On the contrary, I wanted to ask myself, do I look that much like a ghost? I didn't bother with their stunned faces and began gathering my belongings to leave the house. I had no destination in mind but managed to find a no-frills hotel. I was grateful for the savings I had hidden before marriage. Hugo and Rachel didn't know I had savings. They would have demanded it if they did. The next day, I visited the police and a lawyer's office. Abandoning a healthy adult in the mountains might not constitute abandonment, but intentionally leaving someone in a dangerous place was illegal. Some punishment was inevitable. My lawyer said I could claim damages for emotional distress. My recording of their conversation led to their arrest for fraud and assault, resulting in a criminal sentence. The divorce was finalized and I claimed compensation and damages. I had secretly saved money just as Wilson advised, slowly transferring small amounts from our living expenses account to another one. Even though the savings were from after marriage, all payments were made to me, leaving Hugo with nothing. I found a place to live and a job. I'll never overcome the grief of losing Laura, but I cherish the happy memories we shared. As long as I have these memories, I won't be lonely. Laura saved my life. She wanted me to live. I'm the only one who can cherish her memories. I'm not alone. Laura's smiling face is always with me. Mom, I love your smile, Laura often said. So I'll keep smiling. The smile Laura loved, and moved forward.
I always thought I'd feel beautiful on my wedding day. Instead, I feel like I'm burning alive in $3,000 worth of white satin and lace. You okay? Emma squeezes my hand as we stand just outside the reception hall doors. The string quartet inside has just finished tuning up. Just need a minute. I force a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. My makeup artist spent 90 minutes making me look effortlessly radiant, but my reflection in the mirrored wall shows a woman I barely recognize. Emma adjusts my veil, her eyes searching mine. Noelle, talk to me. Is this just normal wedding jitters or... I'm fine. The lie comes easily. I've been telling it to myself for weeks. The doors swing open and 100 faces turn toward me. Alfred stands at the front of the room, tall and impossibly handsome in his tuxedo. His smile is brilliant, practiced, the same one he uses to charm juries. My stomach twists. I scan the crowd as I walk in, nodding at colleagues, distant relatives, and Alfred's law partners. My mother sits rigidly in the front row, her approval as conditional as always. Bryant, my mentor, gives me a subtle thumbs up from his table. And then there's Violet, my sister, standing by the champagne fountain, looking everywhere but at me. The quartet begins playing as I make my entrance. Alfred extends his hand as I approach. His fingers are warm when they close around mine, but I feel nothing. Just hours ago, I found a text on his phone while he was in the shower. Not the first suspicious message I'd glimpsed, but the most damning. "You look stunning," he whispers, and for a second, I almost believe he means it. The officiant begins, and I go through the motions. My voice sounds distant to my own ears as I repeat words about honor and cherishing. Alfred's vows are eloquent, of course. He's always been good with words, too good. If anyone can show just cause why this couple cannot lawfully be joined together in matrimony, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. The traditional pause, a few awkward chuckles from the crowd, and then, "I have something to say." The voice cuts through the room like a blade. Conversations stop. Glasses freeze midway to lips. I don't need to turn to know it's Violet. "I'm sorry, Noelle." My sister's voice wavers. "I can't let you do this." The room tilts slightly. Alfred's hand tightens around mine, his fingernails digging into my palm. "Violet, this isn't the time," my mother hisses, half rising from her seat. But Violet continues, each word striking like a physical blow. "Alfred and I have been sleeping together for the past 8 months. The collective gasp seems to suck all the oxygen from the room. I turn slowly, feeling as though I'm moving underwater. Violet stands there in her maid of honor dress, the one I spent weeks helping her choose, her face flushed, eyes glassy with tears that look almost genuine. "It started as just one night," she continues, her voice growing stronger. "But it became more. I'm in love with him, Noelle, and he loves me too." I look back at Alfred, whose face has drained of color, not from shock, from being caught. The calculation is already happening behind his eyes. I can see it, having witnessed it in the courtroom. He's measuring responses, weighing options. "Noelle," he starts, his tone placating, the same tone he uses with difficult clients. "This isn't, she's confused." 8 months, I repeat, my voice surprisingly steady. "That would be right after our engagement party, wouldn't it?" Alfred blinks, thrown by my calmness. "She's making this up. You know how Violet gets, always wanting attention." "The text I saw this morning," I continue, "the one that said, 'After today, we won't have to hide anymore.' That wasn't from a client, was it?" The room is so quiet I can hear the ice melting in abandoned drinks. My mother's face is a mask of horror. Emma has moved closer, ready to catch me if I fall. But I won't fall, not here. "Did you think I wouldn't find out?" I ask, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Or did you just not care?" Alfred reaches for my arm. "Let's discuss this privately." I step back, out of his reach. "There's nothing to discuss." I turn to face our guests, these people who came to celebrate our love. Some look horrified, others embarrassed. A few, Alfred's friends, almost amused. I remove my engagement ring, the 3-carat diamond catching the light one last time. "Thank you all for coming," I say, my voice clear and controlled. "Unfortunately, there won't be a wedding today." I place the ring in Alfred's palm, closing his fingers around it. His expression shifts from damage control to genuine alarm. He hadn't expected this version of me. "Noelle, don't." I cut him off with a single look. Then I turn to Violet, who's watching with wide eyes, like she's surprised by the consequences of her own actions. "Thank you," I tell her, and confusion flickers across her face. "Thank you for the confirmation." I walk back down the aisle alone, head high, the weight of 100 stairs on my back. The heavy doors close behind me with a decisive thud, and only then do I allow myself a single shuddering breath. The dress that took 6 months to perfect now feels like a costume I can't wait to shed. The hotel room ceiling has a small water stain in the corner. I've been staring at it for hours, watching how it changes shape in the shifting darkness. 3 in the morning, and sleep feels like a distant memory. I kick off the suffocating duvet and sit up. My wedding dress is crumpled in the corner where I left it, a white ghost haunting the room. I should have burned it. My phone lights up for the 47th time tonight. Alfred again. I don't need to read the message to know what it says. They've all followed the same pattern. Denial, then anger, then desperate pleas for me to answer him so he can explain. What is there to explain about sleeping with my sister? I scroll through older messages instead, hunting for clues I missed. There are hundreds between us, daily check-ins, dinner plans, sweet nothings, lies, all of them. But something catches my eye, a text from 3 months ago. Can't make dinner tonight. Emergency client meeting. Don't wait up. I remember that night. I'd called his office when he didn't answer my texts, and his secretary said he'd left early. I'd brushed it off, trusting him completely. That same night, Violet had canceled our weekly sister lunch for the following day. A terrible migraine, she'd claimed. My fingers move before my brain catches up, dialing Emma's number despite the hour. I'm awake, she answers immediately. Are you okay? I need you to tell me something, I say, my voice hoarse. That weekend we went to the coast 3 months ago. Did Violet say anything about where she was the night before? Emma hesitates. She mentioned meeting friends for drinks. Why? Which friends? She didn't say. Noelle, what's going on? I close my eyes. I think it's been happening longer than 8 months. The silence on the other end confirms my suspicion that Emma had the same thought. I'm coming over, she says finally. No, I need to be alone tonight. I pause. But tomorrow, I need your help with something. Bryant's office has always been my sanctuary. The smell of old books and coffee, the view of the city skyline, the quiet confidence of a space where I've grown from nervous intern to partner-track architect. You should take some time off, he says, leaning against his desk. His eyes are kind but concerned. No one would blame you. I'd blame me. I straighten the models on his shelf, needing to fix something, anything. Work is the only thing that makes sense right now. Bryant sighs. Noelle, I hired someone, I blurt out. A private investigator. His eyebrows shoot up. To what end? I need to know everything. My voice doesn't waver. How long it's been happening? If there were others, I need facts, not just Violet's version. And then what? Bryant asks gently. I don't have an answer. Not one I'm ready to say out loud. My phone buzzes. A text from the PI I hired this morning. Found something? Meeting in 20? The cafe is busy enough that our conversation won't be overheard. The investigator, a woman named Jess, with shrewd eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, slides a folder across the table. That was fast, I say. Some things are easy to find if you know where to look. She taps the folder. Credit card statements, hotel receipts, phone records. They weren't exactly careful. My hands shake as I open it. The first page is a credit card statement. Alfred's. Multiple charges at a hotel downtown, dating back nearly a year. The same hotel every few weeks. A year, I whisper. They've been doing this for a year. Jess nods. There's more. Your sister's social media has them in the same locations too many times to be coincidental. Different cities even. They took a weekend trip to Chicago 3 months ago. The coast trip, the migraine, the client emergency. It all clicks into place. That's not all, Jess continues, her voice softening slightly. There are text messages. I managed to recover some deleted ones from the cloud backup. I flip to the next page and immediately wish I hadn't. The messages between them are explicit, intimate, plans and promises, discussions about their future. After I was out of the picture, soon we won't have to hide, Alfred had written. Just a few more months until the wedding and the prenup is signed. Then we'll have everything we need. The prenup. The one that would have given Alfred access to my trust fund if we stayed married for at least a year. The inheritance my grandfather left specifically to me, not Violet. This wasn't just an affair. It was a con. My phone rings, Violet's name flashing on the screen. For the first time since yesterday, I answer. Noelle, thank God. She breathes. I've been so worried. Can we talk? Please? I need to explain. Where are you right now? I ask, my voice eerily calm. At Mom's. She's not happy with me. I bet she isn't. I close the folder, my decision made. Tell me something, Violet. Was it worth it? What? Was destroying me worth whatever he promised you? She starts to cry, those familiar tears that have gotten her out of trouble our entire lives. It wasn't like that. I fell in love. You fell in love with my fiancé and my money, I cut in. That's quite a coincidence. Her crying stops abruptly. What are you talking about? I know about the prenup, Violet. I know about Chicago. I know everything. The silence stretches between us. This isn't over, I say finally, not by a long shot. I hang up and look at Jess, who's watching me with something like respect. What's next? She asks. I take a deep breath. Everything. I want to know everything. 3 days after my wedding that wasn't, I sit cross-legged on my living room floor surrounded by evidence of my former life's implosion. Jess has been thorough. Hotel receipts, photos, text message logs, and location data spread around me like the world's most depressing puzzle. I pick up a photo of Alfred and Violet at a restaurant in Chicago, his hand on hers, both smiling like they'd invented happiness. The timestamp matches our coast trip perfectly. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. You still alive in there? I haven't left my apartment since meeting with Jess. Haven't showered today either, if I'm being honest. Barely. Coming up for air soon. Good, Bryant called. He's worried. I set down my phone without responding. Bryant's concern feels like one more responsibility I can't handle right now. The evidence tells a story I'm still struggling to accept. Alfred and Violet's affair began just weeks after he proposed, not after the engagement party, as she claimed at the wedding. Their Chicago trip wasn't the only one. They'd been to New York twice, once, while I was at a conference in Seattle. The prenup Alfred had insisted upon, just to protect us both, had been carefully designed to give him access to my inheritance after a year of marriage. And Violet, my little sister, the girl I'd protected from bullies, helped through college, defended to our mother countless times. She'd been planning to move in with him after I signed those papers. My doorbell rings, startling me. Through the peephole, I see Alfred, looking haggard in rumpled clothes. I know you're in there, Noelle, he calls through the door. We need to talk. My heart hammers against my ribs. I press my back against the wall, willing him to leave. I'm not going anywhere until you open this door, he continues, his lawyer voice slipping into place. The neighbors are starting to notice. That calculated manipulation, using my concern for appearances against me, ignites something molten in my chest. I swing the door open. Alfred's eyes widen at my appearance. Unwashed hair, sweatpants, dark circles under my eyes. Good. Let him see what he's done. You have 30 seconds, I say. He pushes past me into the apartment before I can stop him, then freezes when he sees the evidence spread across my floor. What is all this? His voice has lost its confidence. Your life, Alfred, or at least the parts you tried to hide. He picks up a hotel receipt, his face paling. You had me investigated? That's invasive, unethical, funny coming from the man who was sleeping with my sister while planning to steal my inheritance. Alfred's expression shifts, the mask slipping to reveal something calculating beneath. It wasn't like that. No? Then explain the prenup. Explain why you needed access to my trust fund after 1 year of marriage. That was standard protection. For whom? I step closer. The prenup my lawyer drafted protected both of us. The one you insisted on replacing it with protected you. Only you. He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture I once found endearing. Now I see it for what it is. A practiced move to appear vulnerable. I made a mistake with Violet, he says, voice softening. A terrible mistake, but I love you, Noelle. I've always loved you. Something breaks loose inside me, a laugh so bitter it scrapes my throat. You've never loved anyone but yourself. That's not fair. Fair? I grabbed the Chicago photo and thrust it at him. Was this fair? This was the weekend I was with Emma, grieving the anniversary of my father's death. You knew that. You knew what that weekend meant to me. His silence is damning. Get out, I whisper. Noelle, get out, I scream, my voice cracking. Before I call the police and tell them how you tried to defraud me. That gets his attention. Alfred straightens, lawyer mode fully engaged. You have no proof of intent to defraud. I gesture to the floor. I have enough to make your life very uncomfortable. Your firm doesn't like scandals, does it? Especially ones involving senior associates and inheritance schemes. His jaw tightens. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I open the door. And Alfred, tell Violet I know about the necklace too. His eyes flicker with confusion, then alarm. I don't have any information about a necklace. It was a shot in the dark. But his reaction tells me there's something there, something I need to find. After he leaves, I collapse onto the couch, adrenaline draining away. My phone rings. Bryant again? This time I answer. I'm alive, I say before he can speak. Glad to hear it. His voice is warm with relief. Listen, I need to tell you something. Alfred came by the office yesterday. I sit up straight. What? Why? He wanted to know if you'd been in contact with any of our clients, specifically the Westmore development. The Westmore development, my biggest project. The one that could make my career. He claimed that as your fiancé, he was concerned about your mental state affecting the project. Bryant continues. I showed him the door, but Noelle, he's trying to undermine you professionally. Cold clarity washes over me. This isn't just about my heart or my money anymore. Alfred is trying to destroy everything I've built. I'll be in tomorrow, I tell Bryant, already gathering the evidence into a folder. You sure you're ready? I look around my apartment at the shrine to betrayal I've been building. I can't hide forever, and I need to find out what this necklace is about. What necklace? I don't know yet, I admit, but I think it might be the key to understanding why Violet really did this. The Westmore presentation boards gleam under the conference room lights. I've spent the last 3 days rebuilding myself through work, showered, dressed in my sharpest suit, armed with coffee and determination. If Alfred wants to question my professional competence, I'll answer with excellence. They're going to love this, Bryant says, examining my revised designs. The sustainability elements are inspired. Thanks. I straighten papers that don't need straightening. Any word on who's representing the Westmores today? Bryant hesitates. Their regular counsel and Alfred. My hands freeze. What? He's claiming the Westmores specifically requested him. I tried to have him removed, but it's fine. I cut him off, though it's anything but fine. I can handle Alfred. Bryant studies me. You don't have to do this today. Yes, I do. I check my reflection in the glass wall. He's trying to rattle me. I won't give him the satisfaction. The conference room door opens, and the Westmores enter, Robert and his daughter Melissa, followed by their financial advisor. And then Alfred, looking immaculate in a suit I helped him choose last Christmas. Our eyes meet. His hold a warning, mine a promise. Noelle? Robert Westmore embraces me warmly. Bryant tells me you've been working miracles with our project. Just doing my job, I smile, ignoring Alfred completely. Shall we begin? The presentation flows smoothly. I walk them through the redesigned community space, the green energy implementations, the cost-saving measures that don't sacrifice quality. I'm in my element, confident and clear. Then Alfred clears his throat. I have some concerns about the timeline. I keep my expression neutral. The timeline is aggressive but achievable. Given recent events, he continues, eyes fixed on me, I wonder if the firm can guarantee consistent project management. There it is, the attack I anticipated. If you're referring to my personal life, Alfred, I say, my voice steady, I assure you it has no bearing on my professional commitments. I'm simply concerned about emotional stability. A valid concern, I interrupt, turning to the Westmores, which is why I've implemented additional oversight protocols and brought in Tara from our sustainability team as support. You'll find the details on page 12 of your packets. Alfred blinks, caught off guard by my preparation. Melissa Westmore flips to the page. This is impressive, Noelle. You've thought of everything. Not everything, Alfred mutters. Robert Westmore frowns. Is there something specific troubling you, Alfred? Because from where I sit, Noelle has addressed all our concerns thoroughly. Alfred forces a smile. Just doing my due diligence. The meeting concludes with handshakes and approvals. As everyone files out, Alfred lingers. Clever move, he says once we're alone, but this isn't over. It was over the moment Violet opened her mouth at our wedding, I reply. Now it's just cleanup. His eyes narrow. Speaking of Violet, she's quite upset about your accusation. What accusation? About the necklace. She says she doesn't know what you're talking about. I maintain my poker face. Interesting that she's so upset about something she knows nothing about. Alfred steps closer. Whatever you think you know, I know enough. I gather my materials, and I'm learning more every day. His expression hardens. Be careful, Noelle. You might not like what you find. The threat hangs in the air as he leaves. Only when the door closes do I allow myself a shaky breath. You bluffed? Emma laughs, pouring more wine into my glass. We're at her apartment, safely away from any memories of Alfred or Violet. That's brilliant. It was a guess, I admit, but his reaction told me everything. There's something about a necklace that matters to them both. Emma's smile fades. Do you think it could be your grandmother's emerald? The one your mom gave you for the wedding? My stomach drops. The emerald necklace, a family heirloom meant to be worn by Henderson women on their wedding days. My mother had presented it to me with rare emotion, a moment of connection between us. I never even wore it, I whisper. It was in my jewelry box for the ceremony. Emma sets down her glass. When did you last see it? I close my eyes, thinking. The rehearsal dinner. I showed it to Violet when she came to my room to borrow earrings. And after the wedding chaos? I haven't checked. My hands begin to shake. You don't think... Emma's expression is grim. Call your mother. The conversation with my mother is brief and painful. Yes, the necklace is missing. No, she hasn't seen it since giving it to me. Yes, she's furious about the wedding disaster. No, she doesn't want to discuss Violet's behavior. After hanging up, I stare at my phone. If they stole my grandmother's necklace, then this wasn't just about the trust fund. Emma finishes. It was about hurting you completely. My phone pings with a text from Jess. Found something on V's friend Daria. You'll want to see this. Attached is a photo of Daria and Violet at a cafe, huddled in conversation. The timestamp is 2 days ago, but what catches my eye is the glint of green at Violet's throat, partially hidden by her scarf. My grandmother's emerald. I need to talk to Daria, I say, showing Emma the photo. Violet's best friend? She'll never betray her. Maybe not. I finish my wine. But Daria and I were friends once too, before Violet claimed her. And unlike my sister, Daria has a conscience. I send a text to Daria. We need to talk about the necklace Violet's wearing. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Riverside Cafe. Come alone. The response is immediate. How did you know? I don't answer. Let her worry overnight about what I know and what I don't. Tomorrow, I'll start getting real answers. Riverside Cafe bustles with morning customers. But I spot Daria immediately. She's hunched over her coffee, eyes darting nervously toward the door. When she sees me, her face pales. I slide into the seat across from her, setting my phone face up on the table, recording app ready. Thank you for coming, I say, keeping my voice neutral. Daria's fingers twist around her cup. I almost didn't. But you did. That says something. She looks thinner than I remember, dark circles under her eyes. Violet's friendship has always come with a cost. I don't know what you think I can tell you, she begins. I pull out the photo and place it between us. You can start by explaining why my sister is wearing my grandmother's emerald necklace. Daria stares at the picture, then closes her eyes briefly. I told her not to wear it in public, so you knew she took it. Not initially. Daria's voice drops. She showed up at my place after your wedding, or non-wedding, wearing it under her dress. Said it was a gift from your mother. My mother would never give Violet that necklace. The certainty in my voice makes Daria flinch. It's been passed to the eldest daughter for generations. That's what I thought, but Violet was convincing. I lean forward. What else has she convinced you of, Daria? She looks away. I don't want to be in the middle of this. You already are. I keep my voice gentle but firm. How long have you known about her and Alfred? Since Christmas. She meets my eyes finally. I saw them together at the mall when they were supposedly shopping separately for your gifts. They didn't see me. 6 months. While I was planning my wedding, my friend knew my sister and fiancé were betraying me. Why didn't you tell me? Daria's eyes fill with tears. Violet said it was just physical, that it would end before the wedding. Then she said Alfred was leaving you anyway, that you were too focused on your career to make him happy. Each word is a fresh cut. I take a steadying breath. And the trust fund? The prenup? Daria looks genuinely confused. What prenup? I explain briefly about Alfred's financial scheme. Daria's expression shifts from confusion to horror. I didn't know about any of that, she whispers. Violet never mentioned money. What did she mention? Daria hesitates. She said it was finally her turn to be the favorite. The words hit me like a physical blow. Her turn? She's always felt second best. To you, the successful daughter, the one your mother respects, the one who got the family heirlooms and the trust fund from your grandfather. That's not... I stop myself. Isn't it true? Our mother has always been harder on Violet, comparing her unfavorably to me. And our grandfather did leave his money only to me, saying Violet was too irresponsible. That doesn't justify what she did, I say finally. No, Daria agrees. It doesn't. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a small velvet pouch. I took this from her yesterday. Told her I needed to borrow it for a date. My grandmother's emerald necklace spills into my palm, the green stone catching the light. My throat tightens. Why are you giving this to me? Daria looks miserable. Because I should have told you at Christmas. Because what they're doing is wrong. As I'm processing this, the cafe door opens. Violet walks in, freezing when she sees us together. Her eyes lock on the necklace in my hand. You bitch, she hisses at Daria. You said you needed it for a date. Daria stands, gathering her things. I'm sorry, Violet. I can't do this anymore. She squeezes my shoulder before hurrying out, leaving me alone with my sister. Violet slides into the vacant seat. her initial shock hardening into defiance. So now you're turning my friends against me too? I didn't have to turn anyone. Your actions did that. She scoffs. Always so self-righteous. Poor Noelle, the perfect victim. Why did you take this? I hold up the necklace. It wasn't enough to take Alfred? Something flickers across her face. Pain, maybe even shame, before the mask returns. Mom should have given it to me. She only gave it to you because you're the responsible one. So you stole it. I borrowed it. Like you borrowed my fiancé. The words come out sharper than intended. Violet leans forward. Alfred and I love each other. That part wasn't a lie. And the prenup? The plan to access my trust fund? Was that love too? Her expression falters. What are you talking about? For a moment, I almost believe her confusion is genuine, but I've seen the evidence. Stop lying, Violet. I know everything. Clearly you don't, she snaps. Alfred never mentioned any trust fund to me. A cold feeling spreads through my chest. Then why? Because I was tired of being second place. Her voice rises, drawing glances from nearby tables. My entire life, it's been, why can't you be more like Noelle? Do you have any idea what that's like? So you destroyed my wedding to get back at me? I struggle to keep my voice steady. How does that make you first place in anything? Violet's eyes fill with tears that, for once, seem real. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. I was drunk, emotional. Alfred said we should wait until after. She stops abruptly. After what? I press. Nothing. She stands, grabbing her purse. Keep the stupid necklace. It doesn't matter anymore. As she turns to leave, I catch her wrist. Violet, if Alfred was using you too. He loves me, she insists, but uncertainty clouds her eyes. He's going to prove it. How? She pulls away. You'll see. We both will. After she leaves, I sit motionless, the necklace heavy in my hand. My phone buzzes with a text from Jess. Found something in A's email. Meeting tonight? I reply immediately, yes, and bring everything you have on my mother's finances. The pieces are starting to fit together, forming a picture I never expected, one where Violet might be as much a victim as I am. Your mother is broke. Jess slides financial statements across my kitchen table, or she will be very soon. I stare at the documents, trying to make sense of them. Bank accounts nearly empty. Credit cards maxed out. A second mortgage on the family home I grew up in. That's impossible, I say. My mother is obsessively careful with money. Was, Jess corrects. Something changed about 18 months ago. Large withdrawals, luxury purchases, a trip to Monaco. Monaco? My mother, who considers a weekend in the Hamptons an extravagance? Could someone have stolen her identity? Jess shakes her head. The purchases were made in person. Credit card receipts have her signature. I flip through the statements again, noticing a recurring charge. What's Horizon Partners? Investment firm. Very exclusive. Jess pulls up information on her tablet. Minimum buy-in of $200,000. The amount matches a withdrawal from my mother's retirement account. And look who's on their client relations team. Jess turns the tablet toward me. Alfred's face smiles back at me from the company website. I don't understand, I whisper. Alfred is a corporate lawyer. He doesn't work in investments. According to my sources, he doesn't work for Horizon officially. He refers select clients for a commission. My mind races. Alfred met my mother through me 3 years ago. He proposed a year and a half ago, right when these financial changes began. He's been playing a longer game than I realized, I say, feeling sick. But why involve Violet? Insurance, maybe. Jess gathers the papers. Or just keeping it in the family. I think of Violet's confusion about the trust fund, her insistence that Alfred loves her. What if she's telling the truth about not knowing his financial motives? I need to talk to my mother. My childhood home looks smaller somehow, the garden less immaculate than I remember. My mother opens the door before I can knock, her expression guarded. "This is unexpected," she says, not moving to let me in. "We need to talk." I hold up the financial documents. "About Horizon Partners." Her face pales. She glances at the neighbor's house, then pulls me inside. The living room is the same as always, formal, impeccable, unlived in. But there are subtle changes. The silver candlesticks missing from the mantel. The space where a small painting once hung. "Where did you get those?" she demands, nodding at the papers in my hand. "That's not important. What matters is that Alfred has been stealing from you." She laughs, a brittle sound. "Don't be ridiculous. Alfred helped me invest my money. In a scheme. Mom, Horizon Partners isn't legitimate. They take your money and—" "Stop." Her voice is sharp. "I know exactly what I invested in. The returns have been exceptional." "Have you actually received any returns, or just statements showing growth?" Her hesitation tells me everything. "Mom," I say gently, "when was the last time you tried to withdraw money from this investment?" She sits down heavily. They require a 12-month commitment, which conveniently would have ended right after my wedding. I sit beside her, after I signed Alfred's prenup giving him access to my trust fund. "That's absurd. Alfred wouldn't—" She stops, uncertainty crossing her face. "He and Violet are both involved, yes, though I'm starting to think Violet doesn't know the full extent of it." My mother's composure cracks. "I've lost everything, haven't I?" The vulnerability in her voice strikes me. I've never seen her like this, scared, diminished. "Not everything," I say. "We can fight this, but I need to know when Alfred first approached you about investing." She tells me everything, how Alfred had mentioned exclusive investment opportunities, how he'd shown her fabricated success stories, how he'd made her feel special for being included. "I was trying to secure our future," she says. "Your father never left us with much security." The mention of my father, who died believing he'd provided well for us, stings. "Did Violet know about your investments?" My mother nods slowly. "Alfred brought her to one of the meetings, said it would be good for her to learn about finance." "And she never mentioned it to me?" "I asked them not to. I wanted to surprise you with the returns." Her laugh is hollow. "I was a fool." As we talk, pieces click into place. Alfred cultivated relationships with both my mother and sister, using each relationship to strengthen his position. The prenup was the final piece, access to the one fortune he couldn't touch otherwise. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. 911. "Violet just called me crying. She's at Alfred's apartment and needs help. Says he's showing his true colors." Cold dread washes over me. I have to go. Violet's in trouble. My mother grabs my arm. "What are you going to do?" "What I should have done from the beginning. Protect my sister." "After what she did to you?" Disbelief colors her voice. "She's still my sister." I head for the door, and Alfred has been manipulating all of us. "Noelle," my mother calls after me. "Be careful. Men like Alfred, they don't like losing." Outside, I call Emma. "I'm on my way to Alfred's. Call Bryant and tell him what's happening." "Shouldn't we call the police?" I think of Alfred's connections, his ability to charm and manipulate. "Not yet. First, I need to get Violet out of there." As I drive, another text comes through, from Violet this time. "I'm sorry. You were right about everything. He wants the necklace back, says it's worth more than I know." The emerald necklace, still in my purse from this morning. What did Alfred say? "You might not like what you find." I press the accelerator harder. Whatever game Alfred is playing, it ends tonight. Alfred's luxury apartment building gleams like a fortress of glass and steel. The doorman recognizes me, his eyes widening slightly. "Ms. Harper, I thought—" "I'm expected," I lie, striding past him. In the elevator, I check my phone. No new messages from Violet. Emma is 20 minutes away. Bryant hasn't responded. My fingers close around the velvet pouch in my purse, the emerald necklace suddenly heavy with significance. The elevator opens directly into Alfred's penthouse. The space is immaculate as always. Minimalist furniture, strategic lighting, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. No sign of disturbance. No sign of Violet. "Hello?" My voice echoes in the open space. Alfred emerges from his home office, tumbler of whiskey in hand. He looks unsurprised to see me. "Noel, what an unexpected pleasure." His tone is smooth, controlled. "Where's Violet?" He takes a deliberate sip. "Not here." Cold fear grips me. "She texted me, said she was with you." "Did she?" He sets down his glass. Phones can be so unreliable. I pull out my phone, showing him Violet's message. "Stop playing games. Where is my sister?" Alfred studies the text, then smiles. "Ah, she was here earlier. We had a disagreement. She left." "Without her phone?" I step closer. "What did you do to her?" "Always so dramatic." He sighs. "I simply explained some financial realities she wasn't prepared to accept. Like how you've been scamming my mother?" His expression flickers, surprise, quickly masked. "I've helped your mother make sound investments." "In a fake company, with non-existent returns?" I move toward the windows, keeping distance between us. "The game is over, Alfred. I know everything." He laughs, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "You always think you know everything. That's your problem, Noel. So convinced of your own superiority. This isn't about me. It's about what you've done to my family." "Your family?" His voice hardens. "The mother who values status over happiness? The sister who's been jealous of you her entire life? They were easy to convince, Noel, because deep down, they wanted to believe they deserved more than you gave them." Each word lands like a blow, but I hold my ground. "Where is Violet's phone?" He gestures vaguely toward his office. "Probably in there. She was quite upset when she left." I move toward the office, keeping my eyes on him. The door is ajar, desk lamp casting shadows across the room. Violet's phone lies on the desk beside. I freeze. Beside it is a jeweler's loop and a document titled Emerald Authentication. Curious about the necklace? Alfred appears in the doorway behind me. "It's quite a remarkable piece, much more valuable than your family realizes." I turn slowly. "What are you talking about?" "The emerald." He steps into the room. Colombian, exceptional clarity, over 15 carats, conservatively worth $500,000, more with its historical provenance. My mind races. My grandmother's necklace is a family heirloom, not some priceless gem. "Your grandmother's?" He laughs. "That necklace dates back to the 1850s. It belonged to a Spanish countess before making its way to America. Your family probably has no idea of its true origin or value." The pieces click together. "That's why you wanted me to wear it at the wedding. You were going to steal it." "Not steal, simply relocate." His smile is cold. "I have a buyer who's been looking for exactly such a piece. No questions asked." "And when I didn't wear it to the wedding, Violet proved useful after all." He shrugs. "She took it without prompting, a gift from the universe." Disgust rises in my throat. "Did you ever care about either of us? Business is business, Noel." He steps closer. "Now, I believe you have something that belongs to me." "The necklace doesn't belong to you. Neither does your grandfather's trust fund, but that didn't stop you from hoarding it." His voice turns silky. You never planned to share with Violet, did you? Even knowing how your mother always favored you? I won't let him manipulate me. Where is Violet now? Safe, probably crying to one of her friends. He holds out his hand. The necklace, Noelle. And if I don't give it to you? His expression hardens. Then things become unpleasant for everyone. My phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. It's Daria. Violet is with me. She's scared. Alfred threatened her. Relief floods through me, followed by clarity. I need to keep Alfred talking until Emma arrives. You know what I don't understand? I move toward the window, putting the desk between us. Why the elaborate scheme? Why not just steal the necklace? Because I'm not a thief, he says, affronted. I'm an opportunist. The trust fund was the primary goal. The necklace was a bonus. And my mother's investments? Seed money, establishing credibility. He smiles. Your mother was surprisingly easy to convince, so eager to prove her financial acumen. You destroyed her retirement for seed money? Anger burns through me. Collateral damage, he shrugs. Now enough stalling. The necklace. I reach into my purse, fingers closing around the velvet pouch. You know what the worst part is, Alfred? I actually loved you. And I appreciated that about you. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Love makes people so wonderfully compliant. The elevator chimes in the living room. Alfred's head turns slightly at the sound. In that moment of distraction, I press send on the voice recording app that's been running since I entered the apartment, forwarding the file to Emma, Bryant, and Jess. Alfred's eyes narrow as he turns back. What did you just do? I hold up my phone, showing him the sent confirmation. Business is business, Alfred. The fury that crosses his face is terrifying. He lunges across the desk, grabbing for my wrist. Give me that phone! I sidestep, but he catches my arm, fingers digging painfully into my skin. We struggle, his strength overwhelming mine. Let her go. Emma's voice cuts through the room. She stands in the doorway, Bryant beside her, both of their phones held up, recording. Alfred freezes, calculation passing across his face. He releases me with a shove that sends me stumbling backward. This proves nothing, he says, straightening his shirt. It's your word against mine. Actually, Bryant steps forward, it's your words against you. That confession about defrauding Reese Henderson? Very compelling evidence. Alfred's face drains of color as he realizes the extent of what I've recorded. You won't get away with this, he hisses at me. I pull the emerald necklace from my purse, holding it up to the light. I already have. The police station smells like industrial cleaner and bad coffee. I've been answering the same questions for 3 hours, my voice growing hoarse as I explain Alfred's scheme again and again. The recording makes it straightforward, but the detective wants every detail. And the necklace? She asks, making notes. A family heirloom. I place the velvet pouch on the table, apparently worth far more than we realized. She nods. We'll need to keep this as evidence temporarily. I understand. I glance at the clock, nearly midnight. Is my sister still here? Finishing her statement in the next room. When I'm finally released, I find Emma waiting in the lobby, scrolling through her phone. Bryant took your mother home, she says, standing. Alfred's being held without bail, flight risk. And Violet? Emma hesitates. Still inside, Daria's waiting for her. As if summoned by her name, Violet emerges from a side door, looking small and exhausted. When she sees me, she stops, uncertainty written across her face. I'll wait in the car, Emma says, squeezing my arm before slipping outside. Violet and I stand in silence, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. All the anger I've carried these past weeks feels suddenly heavy, exhausting. I didn't know, she finally says, about Mom's money, about the necklace. I know, Her eyes widen slightly. You believe me? Alfred manipulated all of us. I take a step closer. But that doesn't erase what you did, Violet. You still chose to sleep with my fiancé. You still chose to humiliate me at my wedding. She looks down. I was jealous of everything you had, everything you were. And now? I ask. What do you think I have now? Tears fill her eyes. Your dignity, your strength. She wipes her cheek. I never had either. The admission hangs between us. Not quite an apology, but perhaps the most honest thing she's ever said to me. Where will you go tonight? I ask. Daria's offering her couch. She attempts a smile. Apparently, I've used up all my betrayal allowance with her. I nod, not yet ready to offer more. Get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow. As she turns to leave, I add, Violet, I'm glad you're safe. The surprise in her eyes says everything about our relationship, how broken it's been, long before Alfred entered our lives. Dawn breaks as I unlock my apartment door, Emma trailing behind me. We're both exhausted, moving on autopilot as we kick off shoes and collapse onto the couch. You should sleep, Emma says, stifling a yawn. Not yet. I pull out my phone, dialing a number I rarely use. My mother answers on the first ring, voice alert despite the hour. Noelle, is it over? Alfred's in custody. The police have everything they need. I take a deep breath. But we need to talk about what happens next. I've lost everything, she says quietly. The investments, the house equity. Not everything. I meet Emma's questioning gaze. I'm transferring funds from my trust to cover your losses. Silence on the line. Then, I can't accept that. You're not accepting anything. I'm fixing what Alfred broke. I pause. But there are conditions. What conditions? Her voice turns wary. Family therapy, you, me, and Violet, weekly. Another long silence. Is that really necessary? Yes. My voice is firm. What happened with Alfred exposed cracks that were already there. We need to address them. And if I refuse? Then you'll still get the money. I close my eyes, finding strength I didn't know I had. But you won't have me. I hear her sharp intake of breath. You'd cut me off? I'd stop enabling patterns that hurt all of us. The words feel right as I say them. I love you, Mom, but I won't sacrifice my well-being for your comfort anymore. When she finally speaks, her voice is different, smaller, but somehow more real than I've heard in years. When do we start? After we hang up, Emma studies me. You okay? Getting there. I lean back, exhaustion washing over me. I never thought I'd be using my trust fund to bail out my mother and rebuild a relationship with the sister who slept with my fiancé. Emma smiles. Life's funny that way. Hilarious. But I find myself smiling too. My phone buzzes with a text from Bryant. Just heard from the jeweler. Your grandmother's emerald is indeed museum quality. The authentication is legitimate. I show Emma the message. At least one good thing came from this mess. Besides exposing your con man fiancé and beginning to heal your dysfunctional family? She asks dryly. Besides that, we lapse into comfortable silence as the morning light strengthens. I think about the woman I was just weeks ago, planning a wedding, trusting blindly, avoiding difficult conversations. I need to shower, I announce standing, then sleep for approximately 3 days. Emma nods. Want me to stay? No. I smile at her surprise. I'm okay being alone now. As she gathers her things to leave, I find myself standing at my window, watching the city wake up. The emerald necklace is still in police custody, but I can feel its weight around my neck, the inheritance of strength I never knew I possessed. Emma pauses at the door. What will you do with the necklace when you get it back? I turn from the window, the answer coming with unexpected clarity. Keep it safe, then someday pass it to someone who understands its true value. Not its price, its history. The story of women who survived betrayal and emerged stronger, a legacy worth more than any gemstone. I am who I choose to be, I whisper to myself as the door closes behind Emma. The words echo in my empty apartment, no longer a statement of defiance, but a simple, powerful truth.
The champagne bubbles in my stomach have turned to acid. I'm standing here in a $20,000 dress, staring at an empty church, while my sister is probably somewhere over the Atlantic with my fiancé. 342 guests are whispering behind me. I know the exact count because I agonized over that seating chart for weeks. Now they're all watching me crumble in real time, their pity thick enough to choke on. Riley. My best friend Zoe appears at my elbow, gripping my arm. We need to get you out of here. I can't move. The altar flowers I obsessed over, white peonies and blush roses, are starting to wilt in the June heat, just like my dignity. He's not coming, I whisper, more to myself than to her. The words taste like metal in my mouth. They're really not coming. My phone buzzes again. Probably another concerned text from a guest wondering where the groom is. Or worse, someone sending me the Instagram post. I saw it 20 minutes ago, right before I was supposed to walk down the aisle. My sister Aliyah, wrapped around Colin on a first-class flight, her caption dripping with false regret. Sometimes love doesn't care about timing. Sorry, not sorry. The memory hits me like a physical blow, and suddenly I'm grateful for Zoe's grip on my arm. My knees feel liquid. I need... The words catch in my throat. What do I need? My sister back? My fiancé to choose me? The last 6 months of my life to be something other than an elaborate lie? You need to hold it together for 5 more minutes. Zoe whispers fiercely. Just until we get you somewhere private. Don't let them see you break. She's right. I force my spine straight, channeling every society event my mother dragged me to. Smile pleasant, eyes empty, like I'm at another charity gala pretending to care about endangered butterflies. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice carries across the hushed church, steady despite the earthquake in my chest. I regret to inform you that today's ceremony is canceled. Please enjoy the reception without us. The food and wine are already paid for. A few nervous laughs, more whispers. Someone starts to applaud, then thinks better of it. Zoe steers me toward the side door, my train gathering dust from the ancient church floor. We're almost there when my phone rings. Not a text this time. The screen shows my mother's face. Don't answer it, Zoe warns. I click accept anyway. Mom? Riley, darling. Her voice is careful, practiced. I've just heard from Aliyah. Of course she has. Of course my sister called our mother before my wedding day imploded. And? She says she and Colin have been seeing each other since Christmas. She claims they tried to fight it, but... Christmas. 6 months ago. When Aliyah helped me pick out my wedding dress, the memory of that day crashes over me. Her tears as I stepped out in the winning gown, how she hugged me and said I was the most beautiful bride she'd ever seen, all while she was sleeping with my fiancé. Riley? My mother's voice seems to come from very far away. There's something else. Several people knew. They thought it would be kinder to let you find out after... The phone slips from my numb fingers. Zoe catches it, ends the call. How many? I ask her. How many people knew? She won't meet my eyes. That's answer enough. We reach the bridal suite, the room where I spent this morning getting ready, letting my sister do my makeup because she insisted. Had she been texting him then? Planning their escape while painting my face? I catch my reflection in the full-length mirror. I look like a stranger, some fairy tale princess who took a wrong turn into reality. My sister's artistry is still perfect on my face. The thought makes me want to claw my skin off. I need to get out of this dress, I say. Zoe starts working on the buttons. We'll go to my place, open some wine, figure out next steps. Next steps? A laugh bubbles up, ugly and raw. What's the protocol when your sister and fiancé become international fugitives of love? First step is surviving today. Zoe's voice is firm. Second step is making them regret ever thinking they could do this to you. The dress pulls at my feet like shed skin. In my slip, I feel smaller but somehow stronger. The acid in my stomach has hardened into something else. Something sharp and cold and purposeful. My phone buzzes again. This time it's an email from an unknown address. The subject line makes my heart stop. Your sister's long game. You deserve to know the truth. I look at Zoe, whose face has gone pale, reading over my shoulder. Maybe surviving today isn't enough, I say quietly. Maybe we need to think bigger. The email sits unopened in my inbox, a digital grenade waiting to detonate. I've been staring at it for hours in Zoe's guest room, surrounded by the ruins of what should have been my wedding night. My phone keeps lighting up with notifications. I've muted everything except texts from Zoe, who's in the kitchen stress-baking something that smells like cinnamon. The rest of the world can wait. The mystery sender's address is just numbers and letters. Probably a burner account. Smart. The subject line pulses like a warning. Your sister's long game. You deserve to know the truth. I click. Riley, I worked with Aaliyah at Maxwell Corp last year. What happened today wasn't spontaneous. She's been planning this since before Colin proposed. I have proof. If you want to know more, meet me at Cafe Luna tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. Z. My hands shake as I read it again. And again. The words blur together, but one phrase keeps cutting through. Before Colin proposed. A sound escapes me. Something between a laugh and a sob. Zoe appears in the doorway, holding a plate of snickerdoodles. What is it? She asks, then sees my face. Oh God, what now? I turn the phone toward her. She reads quickly, lips pressing into a thin line. It could be fake, she says carefully. Someone trying to make things worse. How could things possibly be worse? I stand up, needing to move. The borrowed t-shirt and shorts from Zoe feel wrong on my skin, like I'm playing dress-up in someone else's life. My sister and fiancé are probably in Paris by now, drinking champagne and laughing about how they fooled everyone. What could be worse than that? Finding out it was premeditated? Zoe sets down the cookies. Riley, think about what this means. If it's true, my sister watched me plan an entire wedding knowing she was going to destroy it. The words taste like poison. She helped pick centerpieces and sample cakes and arrange seating charts, all while... My voice cracks. Zoe reaches for me, but I step back. I need air. Outside, the summer night is thick with humidity. I walk aimlessly through Zoe's neighborhood, past houses where normal people are living normal lives. A couple argues about taking out trash. Kids chase fireflies. A dog barks at nothing. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Aaliyah says she'll call tomorrow to explain everything. Please be open to hearing her side. Her side? Like there could be any explanation that would make this okay? I'm about to throw my phone into someone's rosebush when another text comes through. Unknown number. Riley, it's Zuriel from the wedding. I know we've never really talked, but I saw what happened today. I have some information you might want. Call me if you want to discuss. Zuriel, Colin's boss at the investment firm. I met her exactly twice. Once at the company Christmas party, and again when she RSVP'd to the wedding. Both times she seemed watchful, like she knew something I didn't. Before I can overthink it, I hit call. Riley. Her voice is crisp, professional. I wasn't sure you'd reach out. You said you have information. I do, but first, have you checked your joint accounts with Colin? My stomach drops. No, Do it now. I'll wait. Hands trembling, I open my banking app. The joint account we opened for wedding expenses shows a balance of $47.13. Last week, it held over $50,000. He cleaned it out, I whisper. Yesterday morning, Zuriel confirms. He also accessed several sensitive client files before leaving, files he shouldn't have had access to in the first place. The implications hit me slowly, then all at once. Are you saying... I'm saying your fiancé didn't just leave you at the altar. He committed corporate espionage. And your sister, as our former marketing director, helped him do it. The world tilts sideways. I grab a nearby fence for support. Why are you telling me this? Because I believe in karma. Zuriel's voice hardens. And because I've been where you are. Different circumstances, same betrayal. I rebuilt myself. You can too. How? Meet me for lunch tomorrow. We'll discuss strategy. I think of the mystery email about meeting at Cafe Luna. 2 separate people reaching out with information. This can't be coincidence. I need to think about it, I say. Don't think too long. The window for action is small and your sister's long game isn't finished yet. The call ends. I stand there in the dark, my mind racing. Zuriel's words echo in my head. The window for action is small. My phone buzzes one final time. Zoe. Found something in your wedding dress pocket. Get back here now. I start running. I'm sitting in Cafe Luna at 1:55 p.m., ignoring Zoe's texts, begging me not to do this alone. The note she found in my wedding dress pocket burns in my bag. A handwritten confession from Colin about choosing happiness with my sister. As if happiness was a limited resource he had to steal from me. My meeting with Zuriel isn't until 4. First, I need to know what Z from the email has to say. The cafe is half empty, sunlight streaming through industrial windows. I chose a corner table with clear sightlines to both exits. Paranoid? Maybe, but I'm done being blindsided. At exactly 2, a woman in a charcoal pantsuit approaches. Riley? I nod, studying her face for any hint of recognition. Nothing. I'm Zara. She sits, placing a manila envelope between us. I handled accounts at Maxwell Corp while your sister was there. What's in the envelope? Emails, meeting recordings, proof that Aaliyah orchestrated this whole thing. She taps the envelope, including how she manipulated her way into Colin's department despite being underqualified. My throat tightens. Why are you showing me this? Because your sister didn't just betray you. She used company resources to do it. Expense accounts, client information, all to get closer to Colin. Zara leans forward. She's smart, calculated. Everything was documented because she never thought anyone would look. But you did. I noticed discrepancies, started keeping records. Then yesterday. She gestures vaguely. Well, I open the envelope with shaking hands. The first email is dated 8 months ago. Aaliyah requesting a transfer to Colin's department. The next shows her expense reports, business lunches, late-night strategy sessions. All with him. There's more, Zara says quietly. But you should know, she's planning something bigger. The wedding was just phase 1. Ice spreads through my chest. What do you mean? Your sister didn't just want Colin. She wanted his client list, his connections. They're planning to start their own firm using stolen information. The cafe suddenly feels too small, too exposed. Why tell me this? Why not go to the police? Because corporate theft is hard to prove, but personal betrayal? Zara's eyes gleam. That's where you come in. You have access to things I don't. Family accounts, shared history. Things that could stop them before the cafe door chimes. Zara goes rigid, staring past me. We need to go, now. What? Nora's here. At my blank look, she adds, your sister's former boss. If she sees us together? Understanding hits like a slap. Of course Aaliyah would have allies watching me. Of course this wasn't going to be simple. We slip out the back exit, emerging into an alley. Zara hands me a business card. Call this number when you're ready to move forward. But be careful who you trust. Your sister has eyes everywhere. She disappears around the corner, leaving me clutching the envelope and card. My phone shows 3 missed calls from Zoe and a text from Zuriel. Meeting location changed. Come to Maxwell Corp instead. 4 p.m. Maxwell Corp, where Aaliyah worked. Where this all started. I flagged down a cab, mind racing. The envelope feels heavy with possibilities and dangers. I think of Colin's note. Choosing happiness. Was that part of the script too? Every memory feels tainted now. Suspect. The cab driver clears his throat. Miss, we're here. Maxwell Corp towers above me, all glass and steel. As I approach the entrance, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Walking into a trap, sis. But then, you always did trust too easily. My hands go cold. But before I can retreat, Zuriel appears in the lobby. Riley, right on time. She studies my face. You look like you've seen a ghost. I show her the text. Her expression hardens. Come up to my office. There's something you need to see. The elevator ride is silent. Zuriel's office occupies a corner of the 47th floor with views that would normally take my breath away. Today, I barely notice. Before we start, Zuriel says, closing her door, I should tell you, I know about your meeting with Zara. My pulse spikes. How? Because I sent her. She holds up a hand as I start to speak. Everything she told you is true, but it's not the whole truth. She turns her computer monitor toward me. On screen is an email chain between Aaliyah and Colin, dated 3 days ago. Your sister didn't just steal corporate secrets, Zuriel says quietly. She stole something much more valuable, something that could destroy this company, and everyone connected to it. The subject line makes my blood run cold. Project Phoenix, final phase ready. Project Phoenix isn't just corporate espionage. It's a complete takeover plan. I stare at the emails. My sister's calculated betrayal laid bare in bullet points and action items. She wasn't just stealing clients. She was systematically dismantling Zuriel's company from the inside. Why show me this? I ask, finally looking up from the screen. Zuriel's lips curve. Because you're the key to stopping them. They've planned for every contingency except you, the jilted bride who's supposed to be too devastated to function. I am devastated. The words come out sharper than intended. Good. Channel that. She slides a folder across her desk. Your sister's not the only one who can play the long game. Inside are incorporation papers for a new company. At the top, Phoenix Rising Investments. You want me to start a competing firm? I almost laugh. I'm a graphic designer, not a financial expert. You're also the only person who knows how Aaliyah thinks, how she operates. Zuriel leans forward. I'll provide the expertise and backing. You provide the insight we need to beat her at her own game. My phone buzzes. Zoe again. I silence it, guilt twisting in my stomach. She's been trying to reach me all day. I need time to think. I tell Zuriel. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, your sister's plan goes into motion. She stands. Don't let her underestimate you again, Riley. Outside, the summer evening has turned stormy. I duck into a coffee shop just as rain starts hammering the sidewalk. The barista takes one look at my face and adds an extra shot to my latte without charging. Rough day? I turn to find a man in a well-cut suit watching me with concern. Something about his eyes seems familiar. Talon, he says, extending his hand. I was at your event yesterday. Friend of Colin's from business school. My chest tightens. If you're here to defend him. God, no. He looks genuinely appalled. I came to apologize. I knew something was off with him lately, but I never imagined. He trails off. Anyway, I quit the firm this morning. Couldn't stomach working there after what they did. Lightning flashes outside, illuminating his face. He's handsome in a quiet way. Nothing like Colin's practiced charm. Why are you really here? I ask. Because I have information that might help you, but... He glances around the coffee shop. Not here. Of course. Another mysterious meeting. Another person with secrets to share. But something about Talon feels different. More genuine than Zara's rehearsed revelations. There's a restaurant around the corner, he suggests. More private. I should say no. Should call Zoe back. Process everything I've learned today. Instead, I hear myself say, lead the way. The restaurant is dimly lit, mostly empty. Talon orders wine and waits until the server leaves before speaking. Colin came to me last week, trying to recruit me for some new venture. Wouldn't give details, but he was excited. Manic almost. Talon swirls his wine. Then I overheard him on the phone with Aaliyah, discussing something called Phoenix. What exactly did you hear? Enough to know they're not just stealing clients. They're stealing identities, using personal information from high net worth accounts to... He lowers his voice. Well, it's not legal or ethical. My hand shakes as I reach for my glass. That's why they needed the wedding, to access my family's accounts. Your father's investment portfolio alone? Talon grimaces. Let's just say it would fund quite a startup. The wine turns sour in my mouth. I think of my father's pride when Colin joined his firm, how he treated him like a son. Another relationship Aaliyah poisoned. Why tell me this? Because what they're doing is wrong. And because... Talon meets my eyes. I've seen how Colin operates. He'll destroy anyone who threatens his plans, including you. My phone lights up with a text from Zuriel. Decision time. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring your answer. Thunder crashes outside. Talon watches me read the message, something like understanding crossing his face. Whatever you're planning, he says quietly. Be careful. Your sister isn't working alone. There are bigger players involved. Like who? He opens his mouth to answer just as my phone rings. Zoe's number. This time I answer. Her voice is breathless, panicked. Riley, where are you? Someone broke into my apartment. They took your wedding dress, all the cards, everything from yesterday, and they left a message. What message? On your dress, in red ink. She pauses. It says, back off while you still can, little sister. I meet Talon's concerned gaze across the table. I'll be right there. Hanging up, I make my decision. Tomorrow morning, I tell him, I'm going to war with my sister. Are you in or out? His answer changes everything. I'm in, Talon had said. But there's something you need to know first. Those words echo in my head as I stand in Zuriel's office at 8:57 a.m., watching her review my counter-proposal. Outside, the city sparkles like nothing has changed. Like my world hasn't shifted on its axis 3 times in the past 12 hours. This is ambitious. Zuriel says finally, looking up from the papers. It has to be. My voice is steady despite my racing heart. Aaliyah won't expect me to move this fast or think this big. Speaking of unexpected moves, she taps her screen. Care to explain why Talon quit his position last night only to apply here this morning? I meet her gaze. Because he knows things about Project Phoenix that could help us. And because he's the only person from Colin's inner circle who had the decency to warn me. Warn you about what? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. The image makes my blood freeze. My wedding dress spread across Zoe's apartment floor. That threatening message now joined by photographs. Dozens of them, scattered like fallen leaves. Photos of me and Colin, me and Aaliyah, all defaced with red ink. Riley? Zuriel's voice seems distant. They broke in again. My fingers tremble as I show her. They're watching us. All of us. Good. At my startled look, she continues. It means they're scared. You're already disrupting their timeline. Or they're trying to scare me off before... I stop, remembering Talon's revelation from last night. Before what? The office door opens before I can respond. Nora strides in, impeccable in a steel gray suit. Sorry I'm late, she says, not sounding sorry at all. Traffic was murder. My pulse spikes. Nora, Aaliyah's former boss, the woman from the cafe yesterday. What is she doing here? Riley was just walking me through her proposal. Zuriel says smoothly. Care to weigh in? Nora's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Of course. Though I'm surprised you're moving forward given the complications. What complications? I keep my voice neutral, remembering Talon's words. Nora isn't just Aaliyah's mentor. She's the architect of Project Phoenix. Your sister's just the face of it. Your sister called this morning, Nora says. She's very concerned about your well-being. Thinks you might be making rash decisions while emotionally compromised. Did she mention how she compromised me? The words taste like metal. Or did that part slip her mind? Family dynamics are complicated. Nora waves dismissively. The point is, starting a competing firm now could seem vindictive. It might damage your reputation. My reputation? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to make both women flinch. My sister and fiancé destroyed my wedding, stole my family's financial information, and are currently breaking into my friend's apartment to threaten me. I think my reputation can handle a little competition. Nora's facade cracks slightly. How did you know about the financial theft? I pull out my phone, click play on the recording Talon made last week. Colin's voice fills the room, discussing account numbers and access codes with Aaliyah. The color drains from Nora's face. That's inadmissible, she says quickly, recorded without consent. Maybe in court? I agree. But the court of public opinion? They'll eat this up, especially when they learn who really orchestrated everything. Zuriel watches this exchange with growing interest. Nora, something you want to share? But Nora is already heading for the door. This meeting is over. And Riley? She turns back, mask completely gone. You have no idea what you're playing with. Back off while you still can. The same words from my wedding dress. My hands curl into fists. After she leaves, Zuriel lets out a low whistle. Well, that was illuminating. It gets worse. I show her the rest of what Talon revealed. Documents proving Nora's involvement in multiple identity theft schemes, with Aaliyah and Colin as her newest pawns. My sister thinks she's the mastermind, I say quietly. She has no idea she's being played too. And you want to warn her? No. The answer surprises me with its certainty. I want to beat them all at their own game. But I need your help. Zuriel studies me for a long moment. You understand there's no going back? Once we move forward, your relationship with Aaliyah. She killed that relationship the moment she chose this over me. My voice catches. Besides, she's not the only one who can play the long game. My phone buzzes again. Another photo from Zoe's apartment. This time it's a close-up of my wedding dress, where someone has pinned a note. Final warning, little sister. Don't make us show you how much worse this can get. I turn the phone toward Zuriel. Still think I'm moving too fast? Her smile is razor sharp. Actually, I think it's time we moved faster. 3 days. That's how long it takes to dismantle someone's life if you know where to push. Zuriel and I have been working around the clock, setting our plan in motion. My hands shake from too much coffee and too little sleep. But I can't stop now. They've taken the bait, Talon announces, striding into our makeshift war room, a converted conference space at Zuriel's firm. Nora's calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow. I study the timeline we've created on the wall. Photos, documents, connections, all leading to this moment. And Aaliyah? Still in Paris. He hesitates. But she's been making calls. Lots of them. Of course she has. By now, she's discovered her access to certain accounts has been revoked. Probably noticed the irregularities we planted in her financial records, too. Small things, but enough to make someone nervous. My phone lights up. A text from my mother. Aaliyah's hysterical. Says you're trying to ruin her. Please stop this vendetta before someone gets hurt. Vendetta. Like I'm the villain here. Riley. Zoe appears with fresh coffee. Your hands are shaking. I'm fine. You're not fine. None of this is fine. She sets the coffee down harder than necessary. You haven't slept properly in days. You're jumping at shadows. And now you're talking about exposing corporate fraud at tomorrow's meeting? That's dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. I gesture at the wall. They've already threatened us multiple times. What choice do I have? You could walk away, start fresh somewhere else, like my sister did? The words come out bitter. Run away with someone else's life? That's not what My phone rings. Unknown number. Everyone freezes. Speaker. Zuriel mouths from her desk. I answer. Hello? Hello, little sister. Aaliyah's voice fills the room, smooth as poison. We need to talk. My throat closes. This is the first time I've heard her voice since the wedding. About what? I manage. About how you're making a terrible mistake. She sighs like I'm a child throwing a tantrum. I know you're hurt, but this revenge campaign? It's beneath you. Beneath me? I laugh. Like sleeping with my fiancé was beneath you? That was different. Colin and I... Save it. My voice shakes. I know about Project Phoenix, about Nora, about all of it. Silence stretches. Then, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Actually, I do. I understand you're not in control like you think. That Nora's been playing you from the start. That everything you stole, the accounts, the client information, it's all part of her bigger plan. You're wrong. But there's a flicker of uncertainty in her voice. Check your private account, I say. The one you think no one knows about. See how much is left. The sharp intake of breath tells me she's looking. Seeing the zero balance we engineered this morning. What did you do? The same thing you did to me. I took everything. My hands stop shaking. But unlike you, I'm giving you a chance to fix this. Come to tomorrow's board meeting. Help me expose Nora. Or lose everything you thought you were gaining. You wouldn't dare. The sister you knew wouldn't, but you killed her at the altar. My voice hardens. The person you're dealing with now? She's someone else entirely. Talon moves closer, supportive but silent. Zoe looks torn between pride and horror. Riley, please. Aaliyah's voice cracks. You don't know what they'll do. Actually, I do, because they've been doing it to me all week. I think of my defaced wedding dress, the threats, the break-ins. The difference is I'm not backing down. They'll destroy you. No, I say quietly. They'll try. But I learned from the best, didn't I, big sister? You taught me everything about playing the long game. The line goes dead. Seconds later, my phone buzzes with a text from Nora. You were warned. What happens next is your fault. Almost immediately, Talon's phone chimes. His face goes pale reading the message. What is it? I ask. They're moving up their timeline. The board meeting, it's not tomorrow anymore. He shows me his screen. It's in 2 hours. Zuriel stands. Then we move up our timeline too. But we're not ready, Zoe protests. The documentation, the presentations. We have enough. I start gathering files. They're panicking. That means we're closer than we thought. My phone buzzes one final time. A message from Colin. You should have stayed down, Riley. Now everyone will see exactly what you're capable of. I stare at his words, feeling something shift inside me. He's right. They will see what I'm capable of. Just not in the way he thinks. 2 hours, I tell my team. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate the wrong sister. The Maxwell Court boardroom feels like a courtroom, all polished wood and weighted silence. I stand at the head of the table, facing down 12 board members, my hands steady on the presentation remote. Nora sits at the far end, her smile sharp as a blade. No sign of Aaliyah yet. As I was saying, Nora continues smoothly. Ms. Riley's accusations are clearly motivated by personal vengeance. Her recent and emotional upheaval has led to some concerning behavior. A few sympathetic nods from the board. They see exactly what Nora wants them to see. A jilted bride having a breakdown. Time to change that narrative. You're right about one thing, I say, clicking to the first slide. This is personal. The screen fills with transaction records, dozens of them, all showing systematic theft from client accounts. Next slide, emails between Nora and various shell companies. Then, recorded conversations, account transfers, the whole elaborate scheme laid bare. But my emotional state isn't the issue here. I meet each board member's eyes. The systematic fraud being committed under your watches. Nora's smile vanishes. These documents are clearly fabricated. The boardroom door opens. Aaliyah walks in, Colin right behind her. My sister looks exhausted, nothing like her triumphant wedding day photos. She won't meet my eyes. Perfect timing, I say. I was just getting to your part in all this. Riley, don't. Aaliyah's voice shakes. Please. Why not? Afraid they'll learn how you helped steal client information? Or how you and Colin were just pawns in Nora's bigger game? Colin steps forward. You're delusional. Actually, Talon says from the doorway. She's right. He moves to stand beside me, dropping a thick folder on the table. I have proof of everything, including your role, Colin. The board chairman leans forward. What exactly are we looking at? A 3-year scheme to steal client identities and assets, Zuriel says, entering with perfect timing. Using unwitting employees as cover. Isn't that right, Nora? Nora stands, mask cracking. This is absurd. You have no actual proof. Check your phone, I tell the board members. You just received an email with complete documentation, including recordings of Ms. Nora here planning my wedding day, humiliation as a distraction from her larger theft. Phones buzz around the table. Faces darken as they read. You recorded me? Aaliyah whispers. No. I finally look at my sister. You recorded yourself. Every meeting, every call. You documented everything to protect yourself from Nora. But you stored it all on the cloud account we've shared since college. The color drains from her face. Behind her, Colin starts edging toward the door. Don't bother. Talon calls after him. Security's waiting outside, along with some very interested FBI agents. Chaos erupts. Board members shouting questions, Nora demanding her lawyer, Colin making a break for it only to be caught by security. Through it all, Aaliyah stays frozen, staring at me. Why? She asks finally. Why not just turn us in? Why this whole elaborate plan? Because I needed to understand. My voice cracks. I needed to know if any part of our relationship was real, or if I was just another mark in your long game. Riley, was any of it real? The wedding dress shopping? The late night talks? All those years of being my big sister. Was it all just practice for manipulation? Tears spill down her cheeks. Not all of it. Not at first. Ms. Riley, the chairman interrupts. These allegations are extremely serious. We'll need you to stay and make a formal statement. I nod, not taking my eyes off Aaliyah. I know exactly what to say. You'll destroy my whole life, she whispers, like you destroyed mine. I step closer. The difference is I'm giving you a choice. Tell them everything about Nora's operation, everything. And I'll tell them you helped expose it. Or don't. And I'll bury you with the truth. She looks at me for a long moment, really looks at me. Maybe for the first time in years. When did you get so strong? When you forced me to be. The boardroom doors open again. FBI agents enter, handcuffs ready. Nora starts yelling about her rights. Colin goes quietly, already bargaining. And Aaliyah straightens her spine, wipes her tears, and turns to the chairman. I'd like to make a full statement, she says clearly. About everything. I feel Talon's hand on my shoulder, steadying me. Across the room, Zuriel gives me a subtle nod. It's done. It's finally done. My phone buzzes one last time. A message from Zoe. You did it. Now come home and rest. Rest. The word feels foreign after so many sleepless nights of planning. But first, Chairman, I say, I believe I have a company to save. The visitors' room at the detention center smells like industrial cleaner and stale coffee. I sit across from Aliyah, studying her face through the scratched plexiglass. She looks smaller without her designer clothes and perfect makeup. The prosecutor offered me a deal, she says, picking at a loose thread on her orange sleeve. In exchange for testimony against Nora. Are you going to take it? Already did. She meets my eyes. I'm done playing games. Thanks to you, I finally understand the cost. The words hang between us, heavy with everything unsaid. Outside, a guard checks his watch. 5 minutes left. I found Mom's ring, I tell her. The one Grandma gave you for your 16th birthday. It was in the wedding dress pocket, wrapped in your confession note. Her breath catches. I couldn't keep it. Not after betraying everything it represented. She nods, tears threatening. The funny thing is, I continue, finding that ring was what made me realize you weren't completely gone. The sister I grew up with was still in there somewhere, buried under Nora's influence and your own ambition. Riley, I'm not finished. I pull out a folder. The board appointed me interim CEO yesterday. My first action was to review all personnel files. Want to know what I found? She shakes her head, but I push on. Every job you've ever had, including Maxwell Corp., you got on your own merit. Nora didn't orchestrate your hiring like she told you. Your qualifications were real. Your talent was real. Why are you telling me this? Because you didn't need to steal anything. You were already enough. The guard approaches. Time's up. Wait, Aliyah calls as I stand. The ring. What did you do with it? I touch my neck, where the ring hangs on a chain, keeping it safe. For when you remember who you really are. Outside, Talon waits by his car. You okay? No. I lean against him, letting out a shaky breath. But I will be. My phone buzzes. Zerial with updates about the company restructuring. Then Zoe reminding me about dinner. The world keeps spinning, keeps demanding attention. The board meeting's in an hour, Talon says. Ready to officially accept the CEO position? I think about Nora's corner office, now mine. About the weight of responsibility, of other people's trust. About second chances and the price of redemption. Actually, I say, I have a different idea. The boardroom feels different today. Maybe because I'm not here to tear anything down, but to build something new. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin, I'm declining the CEO position. Murmurs of surprise. Zuriel raises an eyebrow from her seat. Instead, I'm proposing a complete restructuring. New leadership, new ethical guidelines, new everything. Starting with this. I click to my presentation. On screen, Phoenix Rising Investments, rebuilding trust through transparency. The company Nora feared we'd create? Let's actually build it. But this time, let's do it right. 2 hours later, I stand at my office window, watching the city lights blink on. My phone shows missed calls from reporters, lawyers, well-wishers, and one text from an unknown number. You could have destroyed me. Thank you for showing me another way. I touch the ring at my neck, thinking of the sister who gave it to me, of the woman she became, of the person she might be again, of second chances and the courage to take them. Talon appears in my doorway. Car's here. Zoe's threatening dire consequences if we're late for dinner again. Can't keep her waiting. I gather my things, pausing at the photo I've placed on my desk. Not of my almost wedding, but of 2 young sisters sharing a swing set, laughing at some forgotten joke. You really think you can rebuild all this? Talon asks softly. No. I take his hand. I think we can build something better. Outside, the city stretches endless with possibility. Somewhere in a detention center, my sister reads through her plea deal. In boardrooms and offices, people are already whispering about Phoenix Rising's bold new direction. And here, in this moment, I feel the last pieces of my old self fall away. They say revenge is best served cold. But redemption? That burns like sunrise, warming everything it touches. I step into the elevator, ready to rise.
I knew something was off the moment I heard my mother's hushed voice through the kitchen door. "We need April here now. It's the only way this will work." My father's muffled response made my stomach twist. She'll never agree if she knows the truth. I should have trusted my instincts right then, but when you're raised to believe family comes first, red flags just look like flags. My name is April, and this is how I learned the hard way that blood isn't always thicker than water. "April, sweetheart." My mother's voice shifted to sugary sweet as I pushed through the door. She quickly ended her phone call, sliding her cell into her pocket. "We didn't hear you come in." "Sorry I'm early for dinner," I said, watching their faces carefully. The meeting at work finished sooner than expected. My father busied himself with the dishes, avoiding eye contact. "Well, you're just in time. We need to discuss something important." Mom gestured to the kitchen table, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against the wood. "Sit down, dear. This is about Guillermo." My brother's name got my full attention. "Is he okay?" "He's being deployed again," Mom said, retching for my hand. 6 months, maybe longer." "What about Sawyer and August?" I asked, thinking of my niece and nephew. That's exactly what we need to discuss. Dad finally turned around, leaning against the counter. The kids need someone to stay with them in Guillermo's house. Their mother's not in the picture, and we're too old to handle 2 young children full-time. I felt the trap closing in before they even sprung it. "We need you, April." Mom squeezed my hand. "The kids need you. Guillermo needs you." "I have a job," I protested. "A life. My apartment." "You can work remotely," Dad cut in. "Most companies are flexible these days, and you've always said you wanted to spend more time with the kids." "When does he deploy?" 2 weeks. Mom answered too quickly. I pulled my hand away. 2 weeks? And he's just telling us now? "You know your brother." Dad shrugged. "Never wants to worry anyone." Something didn't add up. Guillermo always planned everything meticulously, especially when it came to his kids. He would have had arrangements in place months ago. "Let me call him." I reached for my phone. "He's in pre-deployment training," Mom interrupted. "Very limited contact, but he agreed this would be best for everyone." I looked between them, searching for signs of deception. "You're sure he's okay with this?" "Of course!" Mom's voice rose slightly. "Why wouldn't he be?" The next hour was a blur of guilt trips and emotional manipulation. They had answers for everything: my job concerns, my lease, my social life. By dessert, I felt cornered into agreeing. "I'll need to give notice at work," I said, pushing away my untouched pie. "We'll help you move this weekend," Dad said, already pulling out his phone to make arrangements. That night, I called my best friend Shia. "Something feels wrong." I paced my apartment. "They were too prepared, too pushy." "Then don't do it," Zia said simply. "But what if Guillermo really needs me? Those kids—" I stopped pacing. "I can't let them down." "Your parents are master manipulators," Thea reminded me. "Remember the Christmas incident?" I did. They'd orchestrated a family crisis to prevent me from taking a job in Seattle 3 years ago. "Just be careful," Thea advised. "Document everything." 2 weeks later, I stood in Guillermo's living room, surrounded by boxes and 2 excited kids. Sawyer, 7 and precocious, hadn't stopped chattering since I arrived. 5-year-old August clung to my leg like a koala. Daddy said you're staying forever, Sawyer announced, helping me unpack kitchen boxes. Not forever, sweetie. Just until your dad comes home. Grandma said forever, August mumbled into my knee. I froze, a coffee mug suspended halfway to the cabinet. Grandma said that? Uh-huh. She told the man with the clipboard you're staying forever so they can sell the house. The mug slipped from my fingers, shattering on the floor. As I cleaned up the pieces, my mother's whispered words from 2 weeks ago echoed in my head. It's the only way this will work. What exactly had I gotten myself into? Don't worry about the mess. Mom appeared in the doorway, making me jump. I'll clean it up. You focus on getting settled in. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. After all, we want everything to be perfect, don't we? Perfect for what? I wanted to ask. Instead, I nodded and hugged the kids closer. Whatever game my parents were playing, they'd chosen the wrong pawn. 3 weeks into my new role as substitute mom, I'd developed a routine. Drop Sawyer at school, take August to preschool, work remotely from Guillermo's home office, then tackle the mountain of tasks that came with caring for 2 kids. It would have been manageable if not for my parents' constant hovering. The realtor's coming by today, Mom announced, letting herself in without knocking. Again. I looked up from my laptop. What, realtor? Oh, just for an assessment. She waved dismissively. Insurance purposes? Shouldn't we wait for Guillermo to handle that? Your brother gave us power of attorney before he left. Dad appeared behind her. Standard procedure for deployment. I'd worked in legal services long enough to know that wasn't standard at all. I'll need the office cleared out by 2. Mom started opening drawers. And maybe the kids could stay at our house tonight? They have school tomorrow. I closed my laptop, and I promised Sawyer we'd video call her class pet's new babies. The hamsters? Mom wrinkled her nose. Surely that can wait. No, it can't. I stood my ground. The kids need routine right now. After they left, I searched Guillermo's office. The drawer Mom had been rifling through contained property documents, but something was missing. I remembered seeing a blue folder here last week. My phone buzzed. A text from Thea. Coffee, I'm in your neighborhood. 20 minutes later, we sat in a quiet corner of the local cafe. They're up to something, I whispered, stirring my latte. Yesterday, I overheard Mom on the phone talking about market value and quick sale. Have you heard from Guillermo? Thea asked. No, and that's weird too. He always finds a way to contact the kids even during training. A familiar voice carried across the cafe. The property is perfect for development. Once we clear the title... I grabbed Thea's arm. 2 tables over sat a man in a suit, the realtor, I assumed, talking to someone on his phone. Yes, Mrs. Morgan assured me the current occupants are temporary. We can close within 60 days. My coffee turned to acid in my stomach. Did he just say Morgan? Thea whispered. Your mom's maiden name? That night, after tucking the kids in, I searched Guillermo's email. His password had always been predictable. The kids' birthdays combined. The most recent emails were from 3 months ago. Hey, big brother, I typed. If you get this, please contact me. Something's not right. Auntie April? Sawyer's voice made me jump. She stood in the doorway, clutching her stuffed giraffe. I had a bad dream. I closed the laptop. Come here, sweetie. She crawled into my lap. When is Daddy coming home? Soon, I lied, hugging her tight. Want to tell me about your dream? Grandma said we have to move away, she sniffled. She said Daddy's house is too big for us now. My blood ran cold. When did she say that? When she was showing the man my room. She didn't know I was listening. I carried Sawyer back to bed, my mind racing. Once she was asleep, I called the one person who might have answers. Khalil Howard Real Estate. This is Jessica speaking. Hi, I'm calling about a property assessment scheduled for tomorrow. Oh yes, the Morgan listing on Pine Street. Morgan listing, not Russell listing. Could you confirm the appointment time with Mrs. Morgan? I kept my voice steady. She asked me to check. Actually, Mr. Howard is meeting both Mr. and Mrs. Morgan at the property at 2. They're finalizing the listing agreement. I thanked her and hung up, hands shaking. My parents weren't just planning to sell Guillermo's house, they were already in the process. But how? They'd need the missing blue folder, power of attorney documents. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Signal weak. Got your email. What's wrong? G. Before I could reply, I heard the front door open. Mom's voice drifted up the stairs. The kids' rooms need painting before we list, she was saying. Neutral colors sell better. Ruby, shh, Dad hissed. April might hear. Oh, please, she's clueless, Mom scoffed. Just like her brother, too trusting for their own good. I pressed my hand against my mouth, stifling my anger. Through the gap in the office door, I watched them climb the stairs, carrying paint samples and carpet swatches. My phone buzzed again. April, you there? Signal dropping. Call base command if emergency. I typed quickly. They're selling your house. Need proof of power of attorney. Call ASAP. The message failed to send. When I tried again, the number was invalid. Downstairs, the front door opened again. More voices joined my parents. Male voices discussing property values and development potential. Game on, I thought, opening my laptop. Time to find out exactly what they were planning and how to stop it. What do you mean they forged the documents? Thea nearly spilled her wine. I spread the papers across her dining room table. Look at the signature date on the power of attorney. 3 months ago. But here's Guillermo's bank statement from the same day. He was in Georgia for training. Holy shit! Thea leaned closer. And you found this in their car? Mom left her briefcase in the garage while they were painting upstairs. I had 10 minutes. My hands shook as I sorted through the evidence. There's more. They've already accepted an offer from a development company. They're planning to tear down the house and build condos. But why? Your brother's house is paid for, right? That's what I thought. I pulled up an email on my phone. But I found this in Mom's deleted folder. They co-signed on a bad investment last year. Lost everything. They're underwater in their own mortgage. So they're stealing from their own son to fix their mistakes? Thea's face reddened with anger. While he's serving our country? My phone buzzed. Mom again. I ignored it. The worst part, I continued. They've been planning this since before Guillermo's deployment. They needed me there to make it look legitimate, like the family was all on board with the sale. What about the kids? According to these documents, they're planning to move them into their house, paint me as an unstable caretaker if I object. My voice cracked. They've thought of everything. Not everything. Thea grabbed her laptop. I have a friend who works at the county records office. Let's see what else they've been up to. 3 hours and another bottle of wine later, we had a clearer picture. My parents had created a shell company to buy the property. They'd used Mom's maiden name on everything, probably hoping Guillermo wouldn't connect the dots. April, Thea said suddenly. What if Guillermo's deployment isn't real? I stared at her. What? Think about it. Have you actually spoken to him? Seen deployment papers? My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from August's teacher. Is everything okay? He's very upset about moving. I have to get back. I stood up, gathering the documents. The kids! Wait! Thea grabbed my arm. You can't go back there alone. What if they realize you know? They won't. I'm their clueless daughter. Remember? I tried to smile but felt sick. Besides, I need to keep playing along until I can reach Guillermo. Back at the house, I found Mom in the kitchen with the kids. There you are. She smiled too brightly. We were just discussing summer plans. The children are so excited about moving in with us. No, we're not, Sawyer protested. I want to stay in Daddy's house. Now, sweetheart. Mom's voice hardened slightly. We've talked about this. Sometimes we have to make changes. What changes? I interrupted, watching her face carefully. Oh, just general changes. She backpedaled. Growing family, new opportunities. When's Daddy coming home? August asked for the 100th time. Soon, darling. Mom patted his head. Now, who wants ice cream? After the kids were in bed, I sat in Guillermo's office, staring at his deployment photo. Something was off about it. I zoomed in on my phone. The date stamp. It was from his last deployment, 2 years ago. My hands trembling, I called the base command number I'd found earlier. Fort Stewart, Sergeant Phillips speaking. Hi, I'm calling about my brother, Guillermo Russell. He deployed recently. 1 moment. Keys clicked. No deployment orders for anyone by that name in the last 6 months, ma'am. The room spun. Could you check again? He's supposed to be in pre-deployment training. No training records either. Last activity was an honorable discharge 3 months ago. I hung up, bile rising in my throat. 3 months ago. When the power of attorney was dated, a floorboard creaked behind me. Finding anything interesting? Dad stood in the doorway, his face unreadable. Just missing Guillermo, I lied smoothly. Any word from him? He studied me for a long moment. Your mother thinks we should all have dinner tomorrow. Discuss the future. Sounds great. I forced a smile. I'll bring dessert. After he left, I sent a coded message to Thea. Red alert. G not deployed. Need lawyer ASAP. My phone lit up with an incoming email from Guillermo's account. Help. It read. Can't call. In hospital. Parents took everything. Don't let them sell house. Protect kids. The timestamp was from 10 minutes ago. Another creak in the hallway. Mom's voice, low and urgent. She knows something. I saw her car at the county office building. Then we move faster. Dad replied. Call Khalil. Tell him we close next week. I sat in the dark office, my brother's words burning on the screen, and made a decision. They wanted to play hardball. Game on. The hospital receptionist sighed at my third attempt. I'm sorry, but without knowing which hospital, please, I begged. He's my brother, Guillermo Russell, recently discharged military. Ma'am, I've checked every hospital in a 50-mile radius. I ended the call and slumped in my car, parked outside my parents' house. They were inside with the kids, thinking I was at a work meeting. Instead, I'd spent the morning calling hospitals and Veterans Affairs offices. My phone buzzed. Thea. Lawyer friend can meet today? 2 p.m. A tap on my window made me jump. Khalil, the realtor, stood there, smiling. April, right? Your parents mentioned you'd be joining us for the walkthrough. I forced a smile and got out. Actually, I have some questions about the sale. Of course, though your parents handle most of the paperwork as power of attorney. About that, I pulled out my phone. Could you look at something? Before I could show him the forged documents, Mom burst out of the house. April, you're early. She grabbed my arm. Khalil, would you mind giving us a moment? She practically dragged me inside. Dad sat at the kitchen table with papers spread out. Where are the kids? I asked. At the park with the sitter, Mom replied. We need to talk. About what? The fake deployment? The forged documents? Or how about Guillermo being in a hospital somewhere? The color drained from Mom's face. Dad stood up slowly. Who have you been talking to? He demanded. Does it matter? I know what you're doing. We're doing this for the family, Mom insisted. The market's perfect right now. The development deal will set us all up for life. It's not your house to sell. Your brother made some mistakes. Dad cut in. Bad investments, gambling debts. We're protecting his assets before creditors take everything. Liar. I pulled out my phone. I have proof of the forged documents. I'm calling the police. Dad moved faster than I expected, snatching my phone. Sit down, he ordered. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Eugene, Mom protested. She's bluffing. She doesn't have proof. Really? I pulled the papers from my bag. These copies say otherwise. Mom lunged for the documents. I dodged, but Dad blocked the doorway. Think about the kids, Mom pleaded. They need stability. Once the sale goes through, you'll pay off your debts and disappear. I spat, leaving us with nothing. A floorboard creaked upstairs. Mom's eyes widened. The kids are supposed to be at the park, I realized. They heard everything, didn't they? Sawyer! August! Mom called out. Come down, sweeties. No response. I'll check on them. Dad started up the stairs. Don't bother. I pulled out my backup phone, the one Thea had insisted I get. They're not here. While you were watching me, you weren't watching them. What did you do? Mom grabbed my arm. They're safe, with people who actually care about them. I yanked free. Now, about that proof! Dad thundered back down. Their rooms are empty. Call the police, Mom ordered him. She kidnapped them. Go ahead. I held up my phone. I'm recording everything, and in about 10 minutes, my lawyer will be receiving emails with all the evidence, including the conversation we're having right now. You wouldn't, Mom whispered. We're your parents. Parents don't steal from their children. Parents don't forge documents or fake deployments. We had no choice, Dad shouted. The investment. Eugene, shut up! Mom cut him off. No, please continue, said a new voice. Khalil stood in the doorway, his phone also recording. I'd love to hear about the fraudulent sale I was almost part of. Mom crumpled into a chair. Dad's face went purple. I called the police myself, Khalil continued. They're on their way, along with someone from the VA fraud department. How long were you listening? Mom asked weakly. Long enough. He turned to me. The kids? With my friend Thea and her lawyer, safe and sound. Dad made a move toward the back door. Khalil stepped in his way. I wouldn't. Fraud charges are one thing. Fleeing the scene makes it much worse. Sirens wailed in the distance. Mom started to cry. April, please! she begged. We can work something out, as a family. I walked to the door, then turned back. You know what the worst part is? If you'd just asked for help, told us the truth, we would have helped you. Instead, you tried to steal everything from your own son while he's lying in some hospital, unable to defend himself. We never meant, Dad started. Save it for the police. I cut him off. I have a brother to find. As I walked out, I heard Mom collapse into sobs and Dad arguing with Khalil. But all I could think about was Guillermo's email. Help. Can't call. In hospital. I got in my car and called Thea. The kids okay? Perfect. Eating pizza and watching cartoons. What's next? Next? I started the engine. We find my brother. Veterans Affairs Hospital in Atlanta. The nurse confirmed. Your brother was admitted 3 months ago. Motorcycle accident. My knees buckled. Thea grabbed my elbow, steadying me. Why weren't his emergency contacts notified? I demanded. They were. Your parents visited several times in the first month. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. They knew. This whole time, they knew. Would you like his room number? 4 hours later, I stood outside room 412, trying to gather courage. Thea had stayed behind with the kids, sending me with a thermos of coffee and strict instructions to call immediately. I pushed open the door. Guillermo lay in bed, his right leg elevated, scrolling through his phone. His face lit up when he saw me. About time, sis. I rushed to hug him, careful of the tubes and wires. Why didn't you call me? They took my phone, my laptop, said they were handling everything. He grimaced. Told me you were too busy with your career to help. While they tried to sell your house out from under you. Yeah, got your email about that yesterday when they finally brought my stuff back. Had to wait for the nurse to help me access it. He gripped my hand. The kids? Safe, with Thea. Mom and Dad were arrested this morning. He closed his eyes. Damn. I knew they were in financial trouble, but this... How bad is it? I gestured to his leg. 3 more weeks of rehab. Could have been home already if I'd had proper care from the start. His jaw clenched. They pulled me out of the first rehab facility, said it was too expensive, moved me here where they could control everything. Control the story, you mean? They told everyone you were deployed. Classic Ruby and Eugene, he snorted. Always about appearances. A nurse entered with medication. Time for physical therapy, Mr. Russell. Wait. I pulled out my phone. The kids want to say hi. The video call connected. Sawyer's face filled the screen. Daddy! She screamed. August pushed his way into view, both kids talking over each other. Hey, munchkins. Guillermo's voice cracked. I've missed you so much. Are you coming home? August asked. Soon, buddy. Auntie April's going to help me get better. Promise you won't let Grandma and Grandpa take our house? Sawyer's lower lip trembled. Never, he promised. No one's taking our home. After saying goodbye, I followed Guillermo to physical therapy. He filled me in between exercises. Mom and Dad showed up right after the accident. Said they'd handle everything. Next thing I know, I'm signing papers while high on pain meds. The power of attorney. Must have been. Everything's fuzzy from that time. He winced as the therapist stretched his leg. By the time I realized something was wrong, they had control of everything. My accounts, my phone, even my military benefits. But why keep you here? Why not just forge your signature again? Too risky with the VA involved. Easier to keep me isolated and controlled. He managed a weak smile. They didn't count on my stubborn sister. My phone buzzed. A text from Taya. Police need statement. Parents requesting deal. No deals, Guillermo said, reading over my shoulder. They need to face consequences. The detective mentioned fraud charges, elder abuse, possibly federal charges for the VA fraud. Good. He gripped the parallel bars, taking tentative steps. You know what hurts most? They used you. Used the kids, their own family. Speaking of family, I showed him the real estate documents. Want to guess who the development company belongs to? No way. Uncle Robert, Mom's brother. The whole thing was a family scam. Guillermo stumbled. The therapist caught him. That's enough for today, she said firmly. Back in his room, I helped him settle in. 3 weeks? I asked. Give or take. Doctor says I'm healing well, just needed proper care all along. I'll get the house ready. The kids can't wait to have you home. April! He caught my hand. Thank you. For everything. That's what family's supposed to do. Actually, help each other. My phone buzzed again. The detective. Parents requesting meeting with children. How do you want to proceed? I showed Guillermo the message. Your call, he said. You're their guardian until I'm back. No, I replied to the message. No contact until court proceedings complete. They're going to lose everything, Guillermo mused. The house, their reputation, probably their freedom. They lost something way more valuable already, I said, putting my phone away. They lost us. He nodded, then grinned suddenly. Hey, since you're handling things, there's this nurse, Maria. She's been really kind. Maybe you could... One family drama at a time. Big brother. I laughed for the first time in weeks. One drama at a time. They want to what? I nearly dropped my coffee cup. The kids looked up from their breakfast, startled. Your parents are requesting a plea deal? Our lawyer, Marcus, repeated over the phone. They want to meet with you and Guillermo first, today. Absolutely not. Actually, he paused, this could work in our favor. They don't know Guillermo's being discharged this afternoon. I glanced at the calendar. 3 weeks had flown by, filled with hospital visits, lawyer meetings, and helping the kids process everything. What's the catch? I asked. No catch. They think they're negotiating from a position of strength. Let them believe that. 2 hours later, I sat in a conference room at the police station. Mom and Dad looked smaller somehow, their designer clothes replaced by department store basics. April. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled back. Don't, I warned. Just tell me why we're here. We want to make this right, Dad said. We've prepared a full confession, but we'd like to handle this privately. Keep it in the family. Family? I laughed bitterly. You mean like how you handled Guillermo's accident? Or selling his house while he was recovering? We were desperate. Mom's voice cracked. The investment scheme. We lost everything. Your Uncle Robert promised this development deal would fix everything. By stealing from your own son? We would have paid him back, Dad insisted, once the condos were built. The conference room door opened. Mom's words died in her throat. Guillermo stood there, leaning on a cane but very much alive and present. The color drained from my parents' faces. Hey, Mom. Dad, he said coldly. Miss me? But you're in Atlanta, Mom stammered. Was in Atlanta, until my sister found me. You know, the daughter you called clueless? Dad started to stand. Son, we can explain. Sit down. Guillermo's voice could have frozen hell. "You've done enough talking. Now you're going to listen." He limped to the table, dropping a thick folder between them. Complete records of everything. The forged documents, the fake deployment papers, the hospital transfer you arranged to isolate me, even the kickback arrangement with Uncle Robert. Mom began to cry. Dad stared at the table. "We have two options," Guillermo continued. "Option 1, we proceed with all charges. Fraud, elder abuse, conspiracy, federal charges for the VA fraud, looking at 15 to 20 years each." "Please," Mom whispered. "We're your parents." "Option 2, he ignored her. "You sign over everything. Your house, your assets, your shares in Uncle Robert's company. All of it goes to a trust for the kids." "You can't," Dad started. "I can and I will. You tried to steal my children's future. Now you'll guarantee it." "We'll be left with nothing," Mom protested. "Like you plan to leave us?" I cut in. "Karma's funny that way." Guillermo slid another document across the table. "Full confession and asset transfer. Sign now or we walk out that door and let the prosecutors handle it." "You wouldn't," Dad challenged. "Try me." Guillermo's voice was steel. "You have 30 seconds. Mom grabbed the pen first, hands shaking as she signed. Dad hesitated longer but followed suit when Guillermo stood to leave. "One more thing," I added. "You don't contact us. Ever. No calls, no letters, no surprise visits. The kids are off limits." "They're our grandchildren," Mom cried. "Should have thought of that before using them as pawns." I stood up. "Goodbye, Mom, Dad." Outside, Guillermo sagged against the wall. "You okay?" I steadied him. Better than okay. Free. He managed a smile. "Ready to see the kids? They've got a surprise for you at home." The surprise turned out to be a "Welcome Home Daddy" banner, slightly crooked and covered in glitter. Sawyer and August launched themselves at Guillermo the moment we walked in. "Careful of his leg," I cautioned, but he was already on the floor with them, hugging them tight. "Daddy, look!" August pointed to the window. "We planted flowers, and I kept your room clean," Sawyer added proudly. "Auntie April helped." Speaking of help, Thea appeared from the kitchen with Maria, the nurse from the hospital. "Dinner's ready." "You invited Maria?" Guillermo whispered to me, straightening his shirt. "She helped me coordinate your discharge. Seemed only fair to include her in the celebration." Later, after the kids were in bed and Maria had left, with Guillermo's phone number, Tia raised her glass. "To family," she toasted. "The real kind." "To Karma," I added. "To my sister," Guillermo finished. "The best kind of family anyone could ask for." My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Papers filed. Parents' assets transferred. It's done." I deleted the message without responding. Some chapters needed to stay closed. "Hey." Guillermo nudged me. "Stop thinking so hard. We won." He was right. We had won. But more importantly, we had survived together, and that was worth more than any house or money our parents could have stolen. "You're doing what?" Guillermo nearly choked on his coffee. "Starting a consulting business," I repeated, spreading brochures across his kitchen table. "Helping people protect themselves from financial fraud and family scams." 6 months had passed since our parents' downfall. Guillermo was walking without a cane. The kids were thriving, and I'd discovered my calling. "Using your experience to help others," Maria chimed in, setting down a plate of pancakes. She practically lived here now. Not that anyone was complaining. "It's brilliant. It's more than that." I pulled up my laptop, Look at these statistics. Elder fraud, family financial abuse, real estate scams. They're all increasing. People need someone who understands both sides. Both sides? Guillermo raised an eyebrow. The legal side and the emotional side. Most victims don't come forward because they're ashamed, because it's family. Sawyer wandered in, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Are you leaving us, Auntie April? Never, sweetie. I pulled her into my lap. But remember how some bad people tried to take Daddy's house? She nodded solemnly. Well, I'm going to help other families make sure that doesn't happen to them. Like a superhero. August appeared, his hair sticking up in all directions. Exactly like a superhero. Maria winked at me. Your aunt's going to save people. My phone buzzed. Thea. Meeting set with investors. They love the concept. Speaking of saving people, Guillermo said once the kids were occupied with breakfast. Did you see the news about Uncle Robert? I pulled up the article. The development company had collapsed, taking several investors down with it, including our parents' remaining assets. Karma's still working overtime, I mused. Ms. April? Our new nanny, Rachel, poked her head in. Your first client is here. I straightened my jacket and grabbed my briefcase. The elderly woman waiting in the living room clutched a familiar-looking folder. Thank you for seeing me. She twisted her hands. My son. He's trying to sell my house. Says it's for my own good, but something feels wrong. You're safe here. I sat beside her. Tell me everything. 2 hours later, I had a new client and a clear case of attempted fraud. As I walked her to her car, Thea pulled up. Ready for lunch? We need to prep for the investors. Actually, I gestured to my notes. I need a favor. Could you look into a property transfer in progress? Something's fishy. Already working on another case? She grinned. You're a natural. Back inside, Guillermo was helping the kids with an art project, while Maria prepared lunch. Your mother called the landline, he said quietly. My stomach clenched. What did she want? To apologize. Said she's in therapy, wants to make amends. And I told her we'd consider it. In about 20 years. I hugged him, paint from his shirt smearing on my blazer. You're getting soft, big brother. Nah, he smiled. Just happy, really happy. My phone buzzed again. A text from Marcus. Got another referral for you. Family trust dispute. Interested? Very, I replied. Auntie April, Sawyer called. Come see our painting. The kids had created a chaotic masterpiece, a family portrait. There was Guillermo, Maria, the kids, me, Thea, even Rachel. No sign of grandparents. It's our real family, August explained proudly. The ones who love us for real, Sawyer added. Maria wiped a tear, and even Guillermo looked emotional. Perfect timing. Thea walked in. Your investor meeting just got moved up. They want to fast-track the funding. Go, Guillermo urged. We've got this covered. But, April, Maria cut in, you helped save this family. Now go help save others. I grabbed my things, hugging everyone goodbye. At the door, I paused to look back at my chosen family. Guillermo and Maria helping with homework, the kids arguing over crayons. Thea already on the phone chasing leads. My phone lit up with another message, an unknown number. We're sorry. Please let us see the kids. Mom. I blocked the number without hesitation. Some bridges needed to stay burned. Ready? Thea called from her car. Ready? I joined her, pulling out my presentation. Let's go help some families. You know, she said as we drove, most people would have crumbled after what your parents did. Instead, you turned it into a mission. That's the thing about betrayal, I replied, watching the city scroll past. It either breaks you, or it builds you into something stronger. And which are you? I thought about the family we'd built from the ashes of betrayal, about the clients waiting for help, about the strength that comes from choosing love over blood. Definitely stronger, I smiled. Definitely built. And that's why we never trust someone just because they're family, I concluded, facing the packed conference room. Trust is earned, not inherited. The audience applauded. As people filed out, a young woman lingered, clutching a notebook. Ms. April? Her hands trembled. Your story. It's happening to me right now. Before I could respond, Thea appeared at my elbow. Your brother's calling, says it's urgent. Give me 1 minute, I told her, then turned back to the woman. Come to my office tomorrow. First consultation is free. Racing to my car, I called Guillermo back. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, he laughed, but you need to get home. Now. I broke several speed limits getting to his house. The driveway was packed with cars, including Thea's, which I'd just left at the conference center. How had she beaten me here? The front door burst open before I could knock. Sawyer grabbed my hand, practically vibrating with excitement. You're finally here! Come on! Inside, the house was full of people. Clients I'd helped, families we'd protected, friends we'd made along the way. Maria stood by the fireplace, beaming. Guillermo had his arm around her, both dressed up more than usual. What's going on? You've been so busy saving everyone else, Guillermo said. You forgot what day it is. I blinked. Tuesday? It's exactly 1 year since you found me in that hospital. He squeezed Maria's hand. 1 year since you saved our family. We couldn't let it pass without celebrating, Maria added. August appeared, carrying a large scrapbook. Look what we made! The book was filled with letters, photos, and newspaper clippings. Stories of families I'd helped, homes I'd saved, scams I'd stopped. In the center was the kid's family portrait, now professionally framed. But that's not all. Thea stepped forward. Tell her, Guillermo. My brother cleared his throat. Remember Mom and Dad's house? The one they signed over? I nodded. Well, we're turning it into a shelter for families escaping financial abuse. Maria's running it, and your company will provide free consulting services. The ultimate karma. Thea grinned, using their house to help the people they tried to hurt. A small commotion at the door drew our attention. Marcus entered with an elderly couple, my first clients. We had to come. The woman hugged me. You saved our retirement, our home. Now we volunteer at the senior center, warning others about scams. More stories poured in. The single mom who almost lost her inheritance, the grandfather whose children tried to steal his business, the widow who nearly fell for a real estate scheme. All here, all safe, all stronger. Speech! Someone called out. I looked around at these faces, survivors, fighters, family by choice rather than blood. A year ago, I began, I thought family meant obligation, meant letting people hurt you because you shared DNA. I was wrong. Guillermo squeezed my shoulder. Family is what we build, not what we're born into. It's the choices we make, the trust we earn, the love we choose to give and receive. And the pancakes we make, August interrupted, making everyone laugh. Yes, buddy, especially the pancakes. I ruffled his hair. But you know what the best part is? What? Sawyer asked. That sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to our best selves. My parents thought they were destroying us. Instead, they made us unbreakable. Maria raised her glass. To being unbreakable. As everyone toasted, my phone buzzed. A news alert. Local investment firm indicted for fraud. Robert Morgan faces federal charges. I showed Guillermo the headline. Should we send Mom and Dad a copy? He asked dryly. No need. I slipped the phone away. They'll see it from their new apartment above the discount store. Auntie April! Sawyer tugged my sleeve. Maria says she has a surprise. Maria stepped forward, glowing. Well, since everyone's here, Guillermo and I are having a baby. The room erupted in cheers. As everyone congratulated them, I watched my niece and nephew dance around, already celebrating their future sibling. You okay? Thea appeared beside me. Better than okay, I smiled. We won. Really won. Not just won, she corrected. You turned winning into helping others win, too. The party continued into the evening. Stories were shared, plans were made, bonds were strengthened. Not once did anyone mention our parents or the past they'd tried to steal, because that's the thing about family, real family. It's not about who shares your past. It's about who helps you build your future. And our future? It was absolutely unbreakable.
The laughter hits me first. That particular pitch of forced politeness mixed with judgment that only comes from family. I pause in the doorway of my parents' oversized colonial, gripping the handle of the apple pie I spent 3 hours perfecting this morning. Already, I can feel my carefully applied confidence starting to crack. Inside, the annual Morrison family reunion is in full swing. The familiar scent of my mother's cinnamon potpourri mingles with whatever trendy essential oil my sister Talia is diffusing this week. Voices bounce off the vaulted ceiling, cousins comparing private school choices, aunts trading passive-aggressive compliments about weight loss. Lindsay, you finally made it. My mother materializes, pristine in her cream cashmere sweater. Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes as she takes in my department store blazer. We were just talking about you. That should have been my first warning. In our family, being talked about is never a good thing. I follow her into the great room where conversations pause just a beat too long. My sister Talia holds court by the fireplace, radiant in designer white that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She catches my eye with a smirk that makes my stomach clench. There's my hard-working sister, she trills. Tell everyone your big news. Heat creeps up my neck. Oh, it's not official yet, but I'm up for senior account manager at... No, tell them what you told me last week. About the executive promotion? Talia's eyes gleam. I freeze. I never said anything about... The laughter starts soft, then builds. My cousin Jaden won't meet my eyes. Even my father, usually lost in his crossword puzzle, is watching with uncomfortable fascination. Oh, honey, my mother sighs. Talia was just having a little fun. You didn't actually think they'd make you an executive, did you? In accounting? The room spins slightly. What? It was just a joke, Talia says, still wearing that perfect smile. I told everyone how you've been dropping hints about this huge promotion. I mean, it was pretty obvious you were making it up for attention. We all know that's not really your level. Each word lands like a slap. The pie plate slips in my sweating hands as decades of family dynamics crystallize in one horrible moment. Every achievement I've shared, every milestone I've celebrated, they've all been jokes. I'm the punchline they've been laughing at all along. Lindsay, dear, don't be dramatic. My mother's voice has that edge that always preceded childhood lectures about disappointment. We're just trying to help you be realistic about your capabilities. I look around the room at these people who are supposed to love me. Aunt Marie hiding her smirk behind her wine glass. Cousin Derek actually recording this on his phone. My father suddenly very interested in his newspaper again. And Talia, beautiful golden child Talia, basking in my humiliation like it's her personal spotlight. Only Jaden looks sick about it. He starts to stand, probably to defend me, but I can't bear his pity right now. I have to go. I manage, backing away. I forgot. I have a meeting. On Sunday? Talia's laugh tinkles like breaking glass. See what I mean? She can't even lie convincingly. I flee, their amusement following me down the hallway. In the foyer, I fumble with my coat, desperate to escape before the tears start falling. A text lights up my phone, from Brennan at work. Found something weird in the quarterly audit. Need to talk ASAP. It's about your sister. The message blurs as I stare at it, my hands shaking. All these years of trying to prove myself, of swallowing their subtle cruelty, of believing if I just worked harder they'd finally see me as worthy. But they never will. Because that's not what this is about, is it? I think of Talia's designer outfit, her perfect marriage, her meteoric rise at her investment firm, the golden daughter who can do no wrong. Except, what was that about the audit? My phone buzzes again. Seriously, Elle, this is big. Your sister's name is all over some very questionable transactions. The tears dry up as something harder takes their place. If they want to treat my life as a joke, fine. But maybe it's time I started looking more closely at their perfect lives, starting with whatever my sister's been hiding behind that flawless facade. I leave the pie on the hall table. They can choke on it for all I care, because I'm done trying to earn a seat at their table. It's time to flip it over instead. I sit in my car outside my childhood home, watching raindrops distort the porch lights into watery stars. The reunion's still going strong inside. I can see shadows moving behind the bay windows, probably gathering for my mother's traditional family photo, the one she'll post on Facebook with some saccharine caption about blessed family bonds. My phone keeps lighting up with messages from Brennan. Each one makes my hands shake worse than the last. These transactions, someone's cooking the books. Need to meet in person, too sensitive for text. Elle, this could be serious fraud. I should drive straight to the office. Instead, I find myself walking through the side gate, drawn to the warm glow of the kitchen window. The familiar path feels different now, like I'm trespassing in my own past. Through the glass, I see my mother arranging desserts on her prized silver tray, probably for the photo op. Even from here, I can tell she's switched out my homemade pie for something store-bought and prettier. The back door's never locked. I slip inside, the kitchen's warmth hitting me like a physical blow after the rain. My mother startles, nearly dropping a crystal bowl of berries. Lindsay, I thought you'd gone home to whatever meeting you made up. Why do you do that? The words escape before I can stop them. Why do you have to make everything I do sound pathetic? She sighs, that particular exhale that always made me feel 2 inches tall. Don't start. I won't have you ruining another family gathering with your sensitivity. Another? I laugh, and it sounds strange even to me. When have I ever ruined anything? I'm the one who shows up early to help set up, who remembers everyone's dietary restrictions, who spent 3 hours making a pie you apparently threw away. Store-bought is more reliable. She won't meet my eyes, rearranging cookies with surgical precision. You know how particular Talia's friends are. Talia's friends? Something clicks. This isn't even a family reunion, is it? This is another networking event for her? My mother's silence is answer enough. All those relatives, they're not just family. They're investors, business connections, people Talia needs to impress. And I'm the awkward sister whose very existence threatens her carefully curated image. You could learn from her, you know? My mother's voice goes soft, almost pitying. She understands how to present herself, how to make the right connections, instead of hiding in that dreary accounting department, counting other people's money. The irony of her words hits me like a punch to the gut. If Brennan's right, Talia's been doing a lot more than counting money. What would you say? I ask carefully. If I told you Talia might not be exactly who you think she is? For the first time, my mother looks directly at me. Something flickers behind her eyes. Fear? Don't. Don't what? Don't try to tear down your sister just because you're jealous. It's beneath you, Lindsay. Or maybe it isn't anymore. The casual cruelty steals my breath. In the living room, I hear Talia's laugh, bright and false as fool's gold. My phone buzzes again, Brennan sending another urgent message about needing to meet. "You're right," I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Maybe it is beneath me, but you know what's really beneath me? Pretending everything's fine while you treat me like some embarrassing family secret. I'm done performing for your approval. I turn to leave, but her words follow me. "If you do anything to hurt your sister's reputation, don't bother coming back." In the hallway, I pause by the family photos lining the wall. Years of carefully staged moments. Talia's graduations, awards, engagement. I'm in some of them, always slightly out of focus, like the camera itself couldn't quite be bothered with me. But there's one. I step closer, squinting at a picture from last Christmas. Behind Talia's perfect smile, her laptop screen is visible. And those numbers. My phone buzzes one final time. "Brennan. Found the smoking gun. Meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m.? I text back a single word. "Yes." Outside, the rain has stopped. Through the front window, I watch my family gather for their photo, arranging themselves around Talia like planets around their sun. My mother was right about one thing. I won't be coming back. Not until I've exposed exactly what kind of star they've been orbiting. I start my car, already planning tomorrow's meeting. They wanted to make my life a joke? Fine. But I've got a feeling nobody will be laughing when this punchline hits. Monday morning hits different when you're about to destroy your sister's life. I arrive at the office an hour early, watching sunrise paint the downtown buildings in shades of gold that remind me too much of Talia's perfect highlight. Brennan's already waiting in the conference room, his usual crisp appearance rumpled like he's been up all night. Spreadsheets cover the table, and his laptop shows complex financial diagrams I barely understand. "You look like hell," I say, setting down coffee for both of us. "Wait till you see this." He pulls up a file. "Your sister's firm has been running a sophisticated pump and dump scheme. They're artificially inflating stock values, then selling before the crash. Classic fraud, but the numbers are massive." I lean closer, my accounting brain kicking in despite the emotional storm. "And Talia's involved?" "She's not just involved, she's orchestrating it." He points to a series of transactions. "These are her authorization codes. She's been doing this for years, Lindsay. Millions in investor funds just gone." The room spins slightly. I think of all those networking events at my parents' house. All those family friends investing their savings, trusting the golden child who could do no wrong. "There's more," Brennan says quietly. "Look who some of these investors are." I scan the list, my heart stopping at familiar names. Aunt Marie's retirement fund, Cousin Derek's college savings for his kids, even Jaden's startup capital. "They're going to lose everything," I whisper. "They already have. These accounts are empty. Your sister's probably planning her exit strategy now." My phone buzzes. Speaking of the devil, a text from Talia. "We need to talk. Lunch today?" I show Brennan the message. His face goes pale. She knows we're looking into this. Someone must have tipped her off. "What do we do?" He runs a hand through his disheveled hair. "Officially, report it to the SEC, but they'll take months to investigate. By then, she'll be gone with the money." I finish his thought. My family's money. My cousin's children's futures. There might be another way. A new voice makes us both jump. Devin from legal stands in the doorway, holding a manila envelope. "Sorry, couldn't help overhearing. I've been tracking similar cases." I've always liked Devin. He has kind eyes and that rare quality of actually listening when people talk. Now those eyes are serious as he spreads photos across the table. "Your sister's been meeting with this man." He taps a surveillance photo. He specializes in creating new identities, helping people disappear. My coffee turns to acid in my stomach. "When?" "Last meeting was yesterday, right after your family gathering." The pieces click together with sickening clarity. That's why she orchestrated my humiliation. She needed a distraction, something to keep the family focused on poor, pathetic Lindsay while she prepared her vanishing act. "I have a friend at the Journal," Devin says carefully. "If we take this to him now, today, it hits the morning edition, before she can run." "That would destroy her," I say automatically, years of protective big sister instinct kicking in. "She's already destroyed herself," Brennan counters. "Question is, are you going to let her destroy everyone else too?" My phone buzzes again. Talia. Come on, sis. Important family matter to discuss. Don't make me tell Mom you're being difficult again. The familiar manipulation hits differently now. All those years of subtle undermining, of using our parents' disappointment as a weapon. But this time, she's not just attacking me. She's preparing to rob our entire family blind. Give me your friend's number, I tell Devin. But first I need to have lunch with my sister. They both stare at me. Are you crazy? Brennan hisses. She'll know something's up. Exactly. I gather the evidence into my bag, hands steady despite my racing heart. She thinks I'm still the same pushover she can manipulate. Time to show her how wrong she is. Be careful, Devin warns. People who feel cornered. I know. I manage a smile that feels more like baring teeth. But she forgot something important. She taught me everything I know about wearing masks. I text back, lunch sounds perfect, sis. Can't wait to catch up. The response is immediate. Wonderful. LeBlanc at 1, my treat. Of course it's her treat. She's paying with stolen money after all. I stare at my reflection in the conference room window, practicing Talia's signature everything's perfect smile. Game on, little sister. Let's see who's really been paying attention all these years. LeBlanc's lunch crowd drips old money and corporate power, exactly Talia's scene. I spot her at a corner table, wearing cream silk that probably costs more than my monthly salary. My Target blazer feels like a costume in comparison. Lindsay. She air kisses my cheek, her perfume expensive and suffocating. I ordered us champagne. We're celebrating. I slide into my seat, noting the exits, the security cameras, the witnesses. What are we celebrating? My promotion, of course. Her smile is radiant. I'm being made partner, the youngest in the firm's history. Partner. While her clients' accounts bleed dry, I take a slow sip of champagne, letting the bubbles mask my disgust. Congratulations. When's the announcement? Next week, though. She leans forward, voice dropping conspiratorially. I might not be around for it. Marcus and I are planning an extended vacation, very extended. My hand tightens on the stem of my glass. Where to? Oh, somewhere without extradition treaties. She laughs like it's a joke. Maybe it would be, if I hadn't seen those documents this morning. Actually, that's what I wanted to discuss. I have a business opportunity for you. The waiter arrives with our salads. Talia orders hers with dressing on the side, always in control, even of something this small. I need someone I can trust to handle some paperwork while I'm away, she continues once we're alone. Just signing a few things, maintaining some accounts. The compensation would be significant. Understanding hits like a punch to the gut. She's not just running, she's setting me up to take the fall. Why me? I keep my voice neutral, spearing a cherry tomato. Because you're family. Her hand reaches across the table to squeeze mine. And because I know how much you struggle with money, this could change your life. The worst part? 5 years ago, I might have fallen for it. Might have been so desperate for her approval that I'd have signed anything she put in front of me. Like you changed Aunt Marie's life? The words slip out before I can stop them. Or Cousin Derek's? Her smile doesn't waver, but something cold flickers in her eyes. I don't know what you mean. I think you do. I pull out my phone, showing her one of Brennan's spreadsheets. The numbers don't lie, Talia, even if you do. For a moment, her mask cracks. Fear, anger, and something like respect flash across her face. Then the perfect smile returns. Those numbers can be explained. But more importantly, she leans closer, voice honey-sweet. Think carefully about what exposing them would do to our family, to Mom and Dad's reputation, to your career. My career? Who do you think will hire an accountant who turned in her own sister, who betrayed family loyalty? Her laugh tinkles like breaking glass. Besides, who would believe you over me? The sister who's always been, what did Mom call it, oversensitive? Each word lands like a slap, but not for the reasons she thinks. I'm not hurt by the manipulation. I'm angry at myself for not seeing it sooner, for letting her weaponize my insecurities all these years. You're right, I say, standing. Who would believe me? Relief floods her face. I knew you'd understand. Now about those papers. But they might believe him. I nod toward the man entering the restaurant, Zuriel, Devon's journalist contact, right on schedule. He's very interested in understanding exactly how you made partner so young. Talia's face goes white. You didn't. Actually, I did. And that's not all I did. I drop a USB drive on the table. Copies of everything went to the SEC this morning. Turns out being the overlooked sister makes it really easy to gather evidence. No one notices the accountant in the corner, do they? She grabs my arm as I turn to leave, nails digging in. You can't do this. We're family. Funny. I gently remove her hand. That excuse doesn't work on me anymore. Mom and Dad will never forgive you. Maybe not. I meet her eyes, feeling strangely calm, but I forgive myself for every time I let you make me feel small, for every time I chose family loyalty over doing what's right. Zuriel is making his way toward our table, notebook in hand. Talia's perfect composure is crumbling by the second. One more thing, I say, dropping cash for my untouched salad. I'm not oversensitive. I'm just finally done pretending not to see who you really are. I walk out of LeBlanc into bright sunshine, leaving my sister to face the consequences of her actions. My phone is already buzzing with messages. No doubt the family grapevine spreading the news. Let them talk. I'm done being the punchline of their jokes. Time to write my own story. The first headline breaks at 3 p.m. Rising finance star implicated in multi-million-dollar fraud. By 4 p.m., my phone has 37 missed calls. By 5 p.m., I'm sitting in my apartment watching my sister's perfect life unravel on live TV. A knock at my door makes me jump. Lindsay, it's Jaden. Please open up. I consider pretending I'm not home, but his voice carries that same raw edge I remember from childhood fights, when he was the only one who'd stand up for me. He looks exhausted when I open the door, his usually immaculate suit wrinkled. You could have warned me. Would you have believed me? Yes. His immediate response surprises us both. I've never trusted Talia. Not since we were kids, and she blamed you for breaking Grandma's vase. I let him in, watching as he takes in my apartment, the stack of evidence files, the half-empty wine glass, the news playing silently on my laptop. They're saying she's already gone, he says quietly. Private jet to somewhere without extradition. She won't get far. I pull up an email from Devon. The feds froze her accounts an hour ago. That's not what I came to talk about. Jaden sits heavily on my couch. Your parents are destroying themselves. Your mom. I've never seen her like this. The guilt I've been suppressing all day rises like bile. How bad? She collapsed when the reporter showed up. Your dad's with her at the hospital. Stress-induced panic attack. He meets my eyes. They're asking for you. To yell at me, disown me, tell me I've ruined the family name? To understand why their daughter didn't come to them first. The laugh that escapes me sounds bitter even to my own ears. When have they ever listened to me? Really listened, not just waited for their chance to tell me how I'm doing everything wrong? Maybe they're ready to listen now. My phone buzzes. Another news alert. They've found evidence linking Talia to 3 more fraudulent schemes. The amount stolen has doubled. My stomach churns as I read familiar names among the victims. Oh God. I sink onto the couch beside Jaden. Your startup money, I'm so sorry. Don't. He touches my hand gently. You didn't steal it. You tried to save it. But I waited too long. I knew something was wrong for weeks, but I kept doubting myself, thinking maybe I was just jealous like they always said. You exposed the truth. That's what matters. My laptop pings with an incoming email from Talia's personal account, sent from an unknown location. My hands shake as I open it. Congratulations, sis. You finally grew a spine. But ask yourself, was it worth it? Mom's in the hospital, Dad's reputation is ruined, and our whole family is being torn apart. All because you couldn't handle being the disappointing daughter. Hope you're proud of yourself. Love, T. Jaden reads over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. Don't let her manipulate you. Not again. But what if she's right? What if I did this out of jealousy or revenge? Does it matter? He turns my chair to face him. The money she stole was real. The lives she ruined were real. Your motives don't change that. Another ping, this time from an unknown number. A video attachment. I click play before I can stop myself. It's security footage from LeBlanc. I watch myself confront Talia, but from this angle I can see something I missed in the moment. As I walk away, her mask completely shatters. For just a second, raw fear and something like regret cross her face. Then she pulls out her phone and makes a call, hands trembling. That was right before she tried to run. Jaden says softly, "You did that. You made her face reality, maybe for the first time in her life." My doorbell rings before I can respond. Through the peephole, I see my father standing there, looking older than I've ever seen him. "Lindsay," his voice cracks. "Please, your mother's asking for you." Jaden squeezes my shoulder. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you." I look at the paused video, at my sister's moment of truth. Then at the door, behind which waits my chance to either heal or permanently break my family. "Okay," I whisper, reaching for the handle. "Let's see if they're really ready to listen." Because that's the thing about truth. Once it starts spilling out, you can't choose which parts people hear. You can only hope they're strong enough to handle all of it. The hospital corridor stretches endlessly, my heels clicking against sterile tiles. My father walks slightly ahead, shoulders hunched like he's carrying physical weight. We haven't spoken since leaving my apartment. What is there to say after decades of silence? Room 415. My mother looks small in the hospital bed, her perfect makeup finally stripped away. The machine's steady beeping feels like an accusation. "Lindsay," her voice is hoarse. "Come to see what you've done?" I almost turn around, but Jaden's hand on my back keeps me moving forward. "I came because you asked for me." "Asked for you?" She laughs weakly. "I asked for my daughter. Not whatever you've become. I'm still your daughter. That's why I had to stop her." "Stop her," my father finally speaks. "You destroyed her. The police were at our house, Lindsay. Reporters. Our friends won't even take our calls. Because of what Talia did, not me. You could have handled it privately." My mother's fingers twist her blanket. "Within the family. Instead, you chose to humiliate us all." "Privately?" The word tastes bitter. Like how you privately mocked my career, or privately set me up as the family joke. "We were trying to protect you." My father's outburst startles us all. "You were always so sensitive, so eager to please. Talia was stronger." "Stronger?" I pull out my phone, bringing up the evidence files. "Look at these numbers. Really look. That's Aunt Marie's retirement fund. Empty. Derek's kids' college savings. Gone. Is that strength?" They stare at the screen, reality finally cracking their denial. She said she was investing it." My mother's voice shrinks. "She promised returns." "She lied. She's been lying for years. And you let her, because it was easier than admitting your perfect daughter was a fraud." The machines beep in the silence that follows. Outside, a nurse pushes a cart past, wheels squeaking. "Did you know," I say quietly, "that she tried to set me up to take the fall? She invited me to lunch today to trick me into signing documents that would have made me legally responsible." My mother closes her eyes. My father sits heavily in the visitor's chair. "We didn't," he starts. "No," I finish. "Or didn't want to know." My phone buzzes. Devin calling. I step into the hallway to answer. "They found her." His voice is urgent. "Talia, she's holed up at some luxury resort upstate. FBI's moving in tonight." My heart stutters. She'll run again. Not if someone she trusts convinces her to surrender first. Understanding hits. "No, I can't." "Lindsay, listen. If she runs now, that money's gone forever. But if she turns herself in, makes a deal, she won't listen to me. I'm the enemy now. You're her sister." His voice softens. "And you're the only one she knows. She can't manipulate anymore." I look back through the doorway. My parents huddle together, looking lost and old and human. All their illusions shattered in a single day. "Text me the address," I hear myself say. Back in the room, my mother reaches for my hand. I let her take it, feeling calluses beneath her expensive manicure. "Where are you going?" she asks. "To finish this, the right way." "Lindsay," my father stands. "Whatever she did, she's still your sister." "I know." I squeeze my mother's hand once before letting go. That's why I have to try one last time to save her. From herself, if nothing else. Jaden appears in the doorway. I'm driving. No. I straighten my blazer, check my phone's battery. I need to do this alone. Then I'll wait here. He looks at my parents. We all will. My mother's voice stops me at the door. Lindsay, I'm sorry for not seeing you. It's not enough. Not yet. But it's a start. I know, Mom. I manage a small smile. Maybe when this is over, we can all try seeing each other a little more clearly. The hospital corridor doesn't seem quite so long on the way out. My phone guides me upstate, where my sister waits with her stolen millions and broken dreams. One last confrontation. One last chance to choose between family loyalty and doing what's right. This time, maybe I can do both. The Lake Grove Resort looms against the darkening sky, all glass and modern angles. My rental car's GPS shows I beat the FBI by 30 minutes. Enough time for one last conversation between sisters. The front desk clerk barely glances at me. I've worn my best Talia impression like armor, all confident smile and entitled attitude. Room 842, your sister's expecting you. Of course she is. She's always been 3 steps ahead. The elevator rises smoothly, carrying me toward what feels like destiny. In my pocket, my phone vibrates with updates from Devin about FBI positions, contingency plans, worst-case scenarios. I silence it. This moment belongs to us alone. Talia opens the door before I knock. She's traded her designer clothes for yoga wear, but her makeup is still perfect. Always camera ready, even now. I wondered when you'd show up. She steps aside, letting me enter the luxurious suite. Drink? The minibar's excellent, though I suppose you're more concerned about who's paying for it. You know why I'm here. To gloat, she pours herself something amber and expensive. To see the mighty fallen? Or did they send you to talk me into surrendering? They don't know I'm here. That gets her attention. She studies me over her glass, really looks at me maybe for the first time in years. Then why are you? Because under all this, I gesture at the wealth surrounding us. You're still my little sister, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. Don't. Her voice cracks slightly. Don't pretend this is about protecting me. You destroyed everything I built. You destroyed it yourself. I just exposed the truth. The truth? She laughs bitterly. The truth is I was never going to be enough for them either. Not really. Every achievement had to be bigger, more impressive. Every success needed to shine brighter than the last. So you started faking the shine. I made it real. Her glass slams down. The money was real. The influence was real. Everyone won. Investors got their returns. The firm grew, our family's status, until it all fell apart. I stepped closer. How long did you think you could keep juggling? Keep moving money around to hide the holes? Long enough to disappear. She moves to the window, staring out at the gathering darkness. I had it all planned. New identity, new life. I was even going to send money back once I was safe. Make everyone whole again. You really believe that? I had to believe something. Her composure finally shatters. Do you know what it's like, being their perfect child? The golden daughter who can't make mistakes? Who has to succeed no matter what? Actually, I do. I touch her shoulder gently. I watched you carry that weight our whole lives. But Talia, you don't have to anymore. She shrugs off my hand. Easy for you to say. You're the hero now. The whistleblower who exposed the corrupt sister. I'm not a hero. I'm just finally being honest. About you, about them, about myself. I check my phone, 15 minutes left. And now I'm being honest about this. They're coming for you, soon. Her spine stiffens. I can still run. To where? Another hotel? Another identity? Always looking over your shoulder, never trusting anyone? I move between her and the door. Or you can face this. Make it right. Show them. Show everyone who you really are under all the perfect masks. It's too late. It's not. Not if you choose to stop running. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. Talia's hands shake as she sets down her glass. They'll hate me, she whispers. Maybe, for a while, but we're family. Real family, not the perfect image we pretended to be. I hold out my hand. Let me help you through this. Like I should have helped you before it went this far. She stares at my offered hand. The sirens are very close now. Red and blue lights begin to flash against the windows. I'm scared, she admits, sounding young and vulnerable. I know. Me too. I keep my hand steady. But we can be scared together. For a moment, I think she'll run. I see the impulse flash across her face. Then slowly, she reaches out and takes my hand. Okay, she whispers. Okay. We stand together as footsteps thunder down the hall. In the last seconds before they breach the door, Talia squeezes my hand. I'm sorry, she says, for everything. I know, I squeeze back. Me too. The door bursts open, flooding the room with light and noise. But we don't let go. Not this time. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending to be strong. Sometimes the truest victory is admitting you've lost. And sometimes, just sometimes, sisters can save each other by finally being real. The courtroom feels smaller than I expected. No dramatic high ceilings or imposing architecture, just a plain room where lives change forever. Talia sits at the defendant's table, wearing a simple black dress instead of her usual designer armor. She looks young, vulnerable, real. I'm not supposed to be here for the sentencing. Family members usually wait outside. But when Talia asked me to stay, her lawyer didn't object. Maybe he saw something in our matching stubborn chins, our mirrored way of squaring our shoulders against bad news. The judge shuffles papers, peers over reading glasses. Before pronouncing sentence, does the defendant wish to make a statement? Talia stands. Her hands shake slightly as she unfolds a paper, then stops. Puts it down, looks directly at the victim's section where our family sits. I prepared a speech, she says, about remorse and redemption and making amends. But that would be another performance, wouldn't it? Another perfect role to play. She takes a deep breath. The truth is uglier. I stole from people who trusted me because I was terrified of being ordinary, of disappointing everyone who expected miracles. I hurt people I love because I couldn't admit I was drowning in those expectations. Our mother makes a small sound. I resist the urge to turn around. I can't undo what I did, Talia continues, but I can stop pretending, stop hiding behind fake success, and start doing the hard work of being real. Even if real means being flawed, being wrong, being... Her voice cracks slightly. Being someone who needs help sometimes. The judge nods slowly, pronounces the sentence, 8 years, possibility of parole in 5 with restitution. Less than expected, more than hoped. I watch my sister absorb the news without flinching. Outside, autumn's sun bathes the courthouse steps in golden light. Our parents hover uncertainly until Talia waves them over. Their hug is awkward but genuine. I'll visit, our mother promises, every week. Maybe... Talia glances at me. Maybe we can all visit, together? I'd like that, I say, surprising myself by meaning it. The bailiffs appear to take her away, but before they can, Talia pulls me aside. There's something you need to know, she whispers. Check the hidden folder on my laptop. Password is Thunder Sisters. Remember from when we were kids? There's proof about Marcus. He wasn't just my partner in the firm. My breath catches. He was behind it all? Not all, but enough that he shouldn't get away clean while I take the fall. She smiles grimly. Consider it my last gift as the family overachiever. The bailiffs step closer. Talia straightens her shoulders. Take care of them, she says. And yourself. Especially yourself. I watch them lead her away. This stranger who's somehow both my sister and not my sister anymore. My phone buzzes. Devin, probably with news about the Marcus investigation. But that can wait. Coffee? I ask my parents. I know a place nearby. The cafe is small, nothing like my mother's usual spots. But she doesn't comment on the mismatched mugs or the barista's tattoos. Instead, she asks about my work. Actually asks, not just waits to criticize. I'm proud of you, my father says suddenly, for doing the right thing, even when it hurt. Even when it hurt us, my mother adds quietly. I haven't been fair to you, either of you. No, I agree. But maybe we can all learn to do better. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Jaden. Heard about the sentence, you okay? I look at my parents, really look at them. See the gray in my father's hair, the worry lines around my mother's eyes. See them seeing me. Maybe for the first time. Yes, I text back. I think I am. Because here's the truth about family. Sometimes love means letting the perfect facade crack. Sometimes strength means admitting weakness. And sometimes the biggest joke is thinking we had to pretend to be flawless in the first place. I take another sip of coffee, letting the bitter warmth ground me in this moment. Tomorrow I'll check Talia's laptop, start unraveling Marcus's web, face whatever new challenges come. But right now, in this imperfect cafe with my imperfect family, I'm exactly where I need to be. No masks, no pretense, just us, finally learning to see each other clearly. And maybe that's the best promotion of all.